Chapter 5184. Prepare for battle, protect ancestor Qin Chi. After killing these bastards, we'll be arriving at the cursed land. As long as we destroy this sacrificial ground, we'll regain our freedom. Ha ha ha. Brothers, our dawn is right in front. Fight! Let the light of the azure on race shine over the entire Kuemu planet. Let every corner be stained with our sweat. Jiang Chen frowned. A bunch of lunatics. They had been completely brainwashed by Qin Chi. However, at this time, they had to go all out. There were many scorpions, even more than the azure monkeys. About 2 or 3 scorpions against 1 azure monkey. The battle began in an instant. Roars and roars filled the colossal arena. The echoes reverberated through the air. It was as though the years of beast battles from millions of years ago had reappeared. Blood once again boiled over on this piece of land. These scorpions were even more terrifying than Jiang Qin had imagined. They were extremely fast, and they were fighting on their home ground. They charged forward without a care for anything. Their sharp pincers and elusive scorpion tails were all lethal weapons. How could these scorpions be simple to survive in the ancient ruins for so many years? Each scorpion's power was terrifying. With 2 of them working together, even some star level 8 celestial monkeys would have to avoid them. Even if there were hundreds of them, it was impossible for all of them to be star level 8. Some of the weaker azure monkeys were having a hard time moving forward. The battle between the 2 sides was extremely intense. Whether it was the scorpions or the azure on race, there were people constantly falling into pools of blood, their bones forever buried in beacon smoke ancient city. Screams and shouts rang out incessantly. The scene was getting more and more shocking. A life and death battle was nothing more than this. With so many scorpions, they were gradually gaining the upper hand, firmly suppressing the azure monkeys of the azure on race. The situation was very passive. Jiang Chen and Qin Lu were careful, dodging and fighting the scorpions at the same time. He had no need to be a hero. At this time, Qin Chi was the main general of the azure on race. He would not do something that would be strenuous and unrewarding. Just now, he had spent so much effort to find beacon smoke ancient land, only to be framed by the azure on race. There were many people here who did not know right from wrong. If he did not teach them a lesson, how would they know that the hearts of men were sinister? Their deaths had most likely been planned by Qin Chi. Perhaps it could be said that he wanted to exhaust the Green On tribe's strength. That way, he could better control them. In his eyes, they were just a group of suicide squad. If they died, they died. There was nothing to be regretful about. All of you, hold on. Qin Chi roared. Everyone fought bravely, bathed in blood. At this time, there were already dozens of azure monkeys lying on the ground. The situation was getting more and more difficult to control. Although many scorpions had fallen, most of them had perished together. There was no real threat to the lives of these scorpions. Yi Rodi was incomparably nervous. But now that they were in front of the sacrificial ground, could they retreat? If they really retreated, then all their efforts would have been for naught. Even their dead tribesmen would have died in vain. But what if they did not retreat? Right now, there were so many scorpions that they were gradually nibbling away at the azure on race's power. If this continued, only death awaited them. Ancestor Qin Chi, what should we do? Yi Rodi finally could not hold it in any longer. He could only ask Qin Chi for help. This is a critical period. You must hold on. I will go to the sacrificial ground to see what is going on first. Qin Chi didn't care about the life and death of Yi Rodi and the others. He continued forward step by step. Facing the scorpions that pounced at him from all directions, he didn't hold back at all. He punched out heavily, repelling them all. However, he didn't pay any attention to the Green On tribe. In his eyes, there was only that huge stone altar. Seeing more and more people die, Rodi was filled with helplessness. Ancestor Chin Chi didn't care if they lived or died. Like a demon, he rushed towards the altar. What he didn't know was that it wasn't Chin Chi who was bewitched. The ones who were truly bewitched were the members of the Green Brilliance tribe. Everyone, follow me and retreat from the ancient city. Rodi roared, preparing to retreat. However, what he didn't expect was that not many people were willing to leave with him. In his eyes, the lives of his tribesmen were above all else. Facing so many scorpions at this time, they were clearly powerless. The scene was too brutal. More and more people fell, lying in pools of blood. We cannot retreat. Ancestor Chin Chi said that victory is right in front of us. As long as we destroy the sacrificial ground, we can break the curse on us. We cannot retreat. Lobos bellowed. Many people stood by Lobos, fighting to the death with these scorpions. Even though they knew that these scorpions could topple the Acheron race, as long as there was a chance of survival, they could not retreat. This was the chance that Ancestor Chin Chi had left for them. Patriarch, you're too weak. You simply don't know what we want. Yes, Patriarch. After so many years, we have suffered enough from the oppression of the curse. We must leave this place. We must break the curse on us. We will never be slaves again. Right now, Ancestor Chin Chi is our hope. The opportunity is right in front of us. If we retreat, we will never have such an opportunity again. If you want to leave, leave by yourself. We will not go with you. Right. We pledge our lives to follow Ancestor Chin Chi. Ancestor Chin Chi will lead us to break the curse. We pledge our lives to follow Ancestor Chin Chi. The shouts were awe-inspiring. However, at this time, Rodi was extremely heartbroken. He had never expected that his words would be questioned. Was this still the united Acheron race of the past? Now, his words were useless. He had already followed Chin Chi to conquer the world. He originally wanted everyone to leave the ancient city and preserve their strength. But now, he had attracted a wave of curses. At this time, Rodi felt very depressed. Rodi was very angry. More than that, he was sad. He was too much of a failure as a clan leader. They had all gone crazy. In order to break the curse, they had disregarded everything. He even thought that he was a coward. He thought that he should follow them in their madness and charge towards the end of death. You bunch of lunatics. Death is like an extinguished lamp. So what if the curse is broken? Stubborn. You are infuriating. Chapter 5185. You're just too cowardly. If we were all like you, we would still be trapped in this curse for all eternity. Right now, Ancestor Chin Chi is risking everything for us, not putting any danger in his eyes. How can we retreat at a time like this? That's right. Chief, you have disappointed us. We are not afraid of death. For the future generations of our Green Man clan, we will not regret it even if we die. We will definitely be able to overcome all difficulties. Patriarch, you're as timid as a mouse. You don't deserve to be our patriarch. Our patriarch isn't afraid of death. We should disregard everything to face our enemies. If we're afraid, wouldn't we be cowards? Rodi was thinking for the sake of the big picture. However, at this time, he had become the target of everyone. No one would listen to him. Even those who were prepared to follow behind him had become hesitant. Jiang Chen had expected this. Many members of the Green Man clan had become puppets. Their thoughts had been completely brainwashed by Lobos and Chin Chi at this time. They would unconditionally choose to follow Chin Chi. As for Rodi's cautious style, they had already seen it as cowardice. Although Yi Luodi was working hard, the reality was rather cruel. Yi Luodi had no choice. Right now, it had become their home ground. You guys are jumping into a fire pit. Yi Luodi roared hysterically. However, he had lost his command as the chief. Right now, he was just a mere figurehead. No one would listen to him. They are making a suicidal charge. It is pointless. Chen Lu had long seen through the true nature of this matter. Chief Yi, if you want to save your clansmen, you only have one way. Jiang Chen stood beside Yi Luodi and said. Seeing how dejected Yi Luodi was, Jiang Chen was filled with emotions. What way? Yi Luodi suddenly lifted his head and looked at Jiang Chen with a hopeful gaze. Kill Qin Chi, Jiang Chen said. What? This? Yi Rodi couldn't believe Jiang Chen's words at all. Whether he is your ancestor or not, you should be very clear in your heart now. If this goes on, these scorpions will kill all the members of the Green On tribe. This is not a baseless rumor. He only has one goal, and that is to find this sacrificial ground. To him, your Green On tribe is his vanguard. Do you know why I won against him, but didn't fight with him? Because I want to see what tricks he has up his sleeves. Jiang Chen looked at Yi Luodi calmly. Yi Luodi's face darkened, his mind struggling. Jiang Chen's words weren't unreasonable, but his preconceived notions still made him feel that Qin Chi's identity wasn't so easily shaken. You can choose not to believe it, but you've already seen the results. They're no match for these scorpions, and all you can do is watch as your people fall one by one into a pool of blood, and their bones will be buried here forever. He doesn't care about the life or death of the Green On tribe. Right now, he is a demon, searching for what he wants. Jiang Chen said calmly. Yi Rodi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He didn't know if Jiang Chen's words were meant to sow discord, but at least at this point, he had no other choice. Go find Qin Chi and fight him to the death. Fight him to the death. Only then can you let your people escape his control. Right now, they are just puppets, and you are just a tribe leader that no one cares about. All right. I'll go now. Yi Rodi didn't retreat, but instead advanced. At this time, the choice that Jiang Chen had given him was the only one, and the most effective. Only when Qin Chi revealed his final fangs, and only when Yi Rodi awakened the Green On tribe, would their people see through Qin Chi's true colors. At this time, he would definitely not hide himself anymore. Little friend Jiang Chen, please help our Green On tribe overcome this crisis. Yi Rodi will be eternally grateful. Yi Rodi said with a solemn expression. I'll do my best. Jiang Chen frowned. If he acted now, it would be hard to guarantee that Yi Rodi would be able to uncover Qin Chi's true colors. But looking at him and the Green On tribe that was in deep trouble, Jiang Chen's heart softened. Big brother Jiang Chen, will this method work? Chen Lu was a little worried. At this time, she wouldn't completely infuriate Yi Rodi. He has no other choice now. If he doesn't trust me, his people will all die. If he trusts me, he still has a chance to live. He can see the current situation more clearly than I can. As an ancestor of the Green On tribe, the burden on his shoulders isn't just these few hundred people, but even more of the Green On tribe. He can't afford to lose anything. Jiang Chen smiled. And Qin Chi has already found what he wants. The appearance of these scorpions is the best thing he can rely on. They can largely destroy the Green On tribe's strength, and he won't have to do anything. Otherwise, if he can't remove the curse in the end, the Green On tribe will definitely riot. At that time, Qin Chi won't be able to control it. Jiang Chen's face was calm. Only at this time could he see clearly that this Qin Chi only had one goal. He didn't care about the Green On tribe at all. Qin Chi, you dog. You deceive the hearts of the people. Today, I must hold you accountable. My green on tribe can't be completely destroyed here. Yi Rodi charged into the scorpions and rapidly approached Qin Chi. Do you want to go against me? Patriarch Yi, in order to help your green on tribe remove the curse, I have put in a lot of effort. And now you're pointing your spear at me. Are you looking to die? You're risking universal condemnation by pointing your sword at your benefactor. Qin Chi said with a faint smile. He couldn't help but frown. Our green on tribe has already lost over 100 people, and you don't even care. You still have the face to say it's for us. They had pushed themselves onto the guillotine, and that would be a disaster. Therefore, Yiluadi had no other choice but to follow what Jiang Qin had said, pointing the spearhead at Qin Chi. Only by making Qin Chi unable to move a single step forward could he be freed from his misery, and only then could his people understand him. It was impossible for him to point his blade at his fellow countrymen. If he could take down Qin Chi, he would be able to change the situation. All of you, shut up. It's none of your business who I want to kill. Let's see who dares to stop me. Yi Rodi bellowed. As the leader of a tribe, he now knew how difficult it was for him to do so. See? He's angry from embarrassment. Do you really think he's doing this for your own good? Do you really think Yi Rodi has no selfish motives? For the sake of the Green On tribe's curse, I've come here at all costs. Do you still want to doubt me? Do you know how stupid your choice is? Qin Chi sneered. He's doing this for his own power, for his own vanity. That's why he's stopping you. Who am I? I'm the ancestor of your Green On tribe. I'm not bound by the curse, and I can come and go as I please. After I've lifted the curse, I'll still leave. What selfish motives could I have? To be honest, Kuei-Wood planet is a barren land. If Lobos hadn't found me, do you think I would have come here to ask for trouble? Who am I doing all this for? Isn't it all for you? I want you to escape this abyss of suffering, but you've disappointed me. Qin Chi's voice was full of emotion. He's your patriarch, but he's afraid of losing his power and his position as patriarch. That's his goal. If all of you get rid of your curses, geniuses will rise up and become stronger and stronger. Will you still listen to someone who's weaker than you? At that time, will he still have the ability to be the patriarch? Clearly, there will definitely be people who won't accept it. Even he himself is apprehensive. He's afraid that everything he has now will become an illusion. He doesn't want you to be free of the curse. Once you're free, you'll be out of his control. Qin Chi was getting more and more agitated as he spoke. Moreover, you'll grow stronger, and he'll fade into the crowd. He's been the patriarch for so many years, and he's the oldest among you. But with the rise of geniuses, he'll no longer have the strength to support the heavens and earth. The people he once trampled underfoot are all rising up now. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to take it either. This is the vanity that power has brought him. He's blinded by greed. He's not fit to be the patriarch of the Green On tribe. This is our only chance. If we miss it, we might lose our lives forever. You've advanced wave after wave, and even if so many of you died, you didn't hesitate. It's all for the sake of future generations, for the sake of our descendants. But what about him? He's stubborn. He's probably afraid that the paper can't wrap the fire any longer, so he's pointing the spearhead at me. Yi Luodi, you're really scheming. Qin Chi laughed loudly. His glib tongue left Yi Luodi speechless. Because anything he said now seemed to be quibbling. Ancestor Qin Chi is right. We've all been deceived by that old man Yi Luodi. From the beginning, perhaps he didn't want our Green On tribe to change. That way, everything would still be up to him. Once we change, he'll no longer be our patriarch. So that's how it is. Listening to ancestors' words, it's really enlightening. Yi Luodi, don't even think about changing us. At this moment, Lobos raised his arm and roared, "We can't let him succeed. We definitely can't let him succeed. Brothers, protect ancestor Qin Chi. Even if we die, we will have no regrets. For our descendants, kill." Lobo's words completely ignited the rage in the hearts of all the Greenlight tribe members. They began to slaughter and kill the scorpions. At the same time, some people rushed towards Yerodi, blocking his path to Qin Chi. Damn it. This is infuriating. A thief calling a thief. You deserve death. If I don't kill you today, I, Yeluadi, swear I'm not a human. For the Green on race, I'll kill you here even if I die. Yeluadi flew up and charged at Qin Chi. He was a peak star state, but his power had been dormant at peak star state for too long. Even a half-step cosmic cloud state was no match for him. Hence, he wasn't afraid of Qin Chi at all. Chapter 5187. Yeluadi's power was very ferocious. It was evident that he could become the leader of the Green Mang race. At this moment, he was burning with rage. Qin Chi had angered him to the point that his eyes were glowing. In Qin Chi's eyes, he was a selfish person. And the people of the Green On tribe actually believed him. He could die, but he definitely couldn't suffer such humiliation. This was a fatal blow. Yerodi could die, he didn't care, as long as he could help the Green On tribe remove their curse. But now was not the time. If he died now, it would be meaningless. Moreover, it would allow a traitor like Qin Chi to drag the Green On tribe into the bottomless abyss, the hell of Avicii. It would be impossible for them to leave this place alive. If they were all wiped out, who would be able to save the Green On tribe? At this moment, Yerodi had placed all his hopes on Jiang Qin. Although he didn't know if Jiang Qin could help them, at least this man wouldn't send his people to their deaths. He wouldn't mislead them with lies, and he wouldn't distort the truth. Right now, he was feeling a little regretful. How could he have trusted this bastard back then? This bastard had no regard for human lives at all. He didn't even treat the people of the Green On race as humans at all. Facing Yeluadi's deadly attack, Qin Chi didn't dare to underestimate him. After all, he was the leader of a race. Although he couldn't reach the half-step cosmic cloud state, his years of accumulation couldn't be underestimated. In this battle of life and death, fatal attacks were unleashed. Ancestor Jiang Qin, save me! Di Luo screamed. Di Luo let out a miserable shriek. One of his arms had been directly snapped off by the scorpion. Everyone had fallen into a passive state. Out of the original 400 people, only 200 were left. They were still fighting bravely. Jiang Qin frowned. His heart was stirred. No matter what, Di Luo was the one who brought him here. Jiang Qin wouldn't just watch him die and leave him to die. With a slash, the scorpion was cut in half. However, at this moment, he was indeed heavily injured. His face was pale, and blood was gushing out. He was about to die. However, he was still hanging on to his last breath. Ancestor Jiang Qin, I beg you, please save our Green On family. I know that the patriarch is right. That Qin Chi is a devil. He doesn't care about our lives at all. There are so many scorpions, we can't rush through them. Only death awaits us. He even asked us to eliminate the dissidents. Di Luo's eyes were filled with despair. Although more than half of the scorpions had already been killed, it was all exchanged with the blood of their brothers. If this continued, the stubborn clansmen would all die here. They would all become Qin Chi's sacrificial pawns, becoming his suicide squad, and finally, their bones would be buried here. Okay. Jiang Qin nodded. He had finally decided to take action. Although these scorpions weren't ordered by Qin Chi, he wanted to stimulate the courage of the people of the Green On family to fight the scorpions to the death, exhausting their strength and making them all die here. His goal had been achieved. He had found the sacrificial ground. He didn't need the people of the Green On family anymore. More than half of the Green Mang race had died. Some of them were filled with fear, but their herd mentality didn't allow them to retreat. They could only brace themselves and fight to the death. For the sake of freedom, for the sake of breaking the curse for their descendants. Jiang Chen's heart was complicated. He felt sorrow for them. They weren't in the wrong. They were just used by Qin Chi. Now that they had found the sacrificial ground, they were no longer of any use. Seeing their brothers and family fall one by one, their sorrow grew. Sacrifice and death. No one was right or wrong. As long as they could see hope, it was worth it. But they couldn't see hope. Qin Chi's words had led them to a dead end. They became more and more intense, more and more frenzied. Pitiful people were hateful in some way. But they were truly pitiful. Di Luo had pleaded bitterly, and Jiang Qin still couldn't overcome his own hurdle. He could only watch as they died. This was the revival of a race, and their hopes for the future. Although their deaths were pitiful and worthless, they were the unsung heroes of the Green Mang race. It was just that even in death, they didn't know who they were fighting for. Jiang Qin wanted to find the secrets of the Green Mang race, and he wanted to obtain the power of the stars. He wanted to contribute a little to them, and that would make him feel better. 5 elements trigram fire array. Jiang Qin growled. Sword chi shot out in all directions. Beams of fire descended from the sky, forming a wall of fire that separated the scorpions from the 5 elements trigram fire array. Scorpions were afraid of fire, and Jiang Chen's 5 elements sacred fire was an existence that could melt all things. The trigram fire array sealed thousands of miles, and it illuminated the entire square. Countless scorpions were turned to ashes by Jiang Chen's 5 elements trigram fire array. Roar, roar. Ah! Shrill screams reverberated between heaven and earth. Jiang Chen moved forward, sweeping away everything in his path. He killed hundreds of scorpions alone, shocking everyone. Di Luo murmured as he looked at Jiang Chen's ancestor. His heart was filled with excitement. Only he can be the savior of the Green Mang race. In less than a quarter of an hour, Jiang Chen had killed all the scorpions. At this moment, the people of the Green On clan fell into silence, speechless. They were grateful to Jiang Chen, but they couldn't deny ancestor Qin Chi's encouragement to them. Out of the 400 people, only 100 or so were left. The dead Green On family members had all turned into ghosts. The remaining 100 or so people were speechless. Each of them looked battered and exhausted. Even if they didn't die, they would at least lose a layer of skin. These scorpions were playing with their lives. Luckily, Jiang Chen saved them at the most crucial moment. On the other side, Yiluotti wasn't so lucky. Although he was strong, he couldn't beat Qin Chi. Qin Chi was a half-step cosmic cloud state after all. He completely suppressed Yiluotti and heavily injured him. But at this moment, Qin Chi didn't seem to want to waste time with them. 3 consecutive palm strikes heavily injured Yiluotti. Yiluotti almost lost his combat power. His face was pale as he retreated. Motley crew, court death. Qin Chi sneered. At this moment, the Green Mang race fell into hesitation. They didn't know who to listen to. Ancestor Qin Chi sacrificed himself for their future, but Jiang Chen saved all of their lives. This Qin Chi is really troublesome. Jiang Chen murmured. At this moment, he also planned to fight Qin Chi. At least, he wanted to see what kind of background this guy had. Previously, when they fought, they only used the star force. Qin Chi didn't even use his full strength. This time, the two of them wouldn't hold back their strength. Chapter 5188. The sinkhole grew larger and deeper. The entire square seemed to be shaking. Everyone's eyes were on it, and their hearts were filled with shock. How can this be? Could it be that the curse had leveled up again? Didn't Ancestor Qin Chi say that lifting the curse is just around the corner? Yeah. Such a big sinkhole. Why do I feel like a cold wind is blowing? Look, there seems to be something in that sinkhole. Such a big sinkhole. What could possibly be inside? Scorpion, it's still a scorpion. Someone exclaimed. However, this time, shock was written all over their faces. Jiang Chen's face darkened. It was indeed a scorpion. But this scorpion was hundreds of times larger than the previous ones. It was also densely packed with scorpion legs. There were hundreds of them, and everyone paled and felt their scalps go numb. Isn't this a little too terrifying? What a terrifying scorpion king. We just killed their descendants. Looks like this scorpion king is completely enraged. Shock was written all over everyone's face as they trembled in fear. This gigantic scorpion was truly too terrifying. Jiang Chen's heart sank. The strength of this scorpion king made him feel suffocated. This wasn't an ordinary demonic beast. As the leader of this group of scorpions, the scorpion king was obviously infuriated when it saw all of its offspring being killed. Roar, 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 the angry roars expressed the scorpion king's rage. It was as if it wanted to devour the heavens and earth. This guy, we can't deal with it. Yi Luoti's face was pale as he muttered. This scorpion king was too shocking. Everyone from the Green Light tribe felt a great pressure. Chen Lu stood beside Jiang Qin, her face solemn, ready to fight. Although many knew that this scorpion king was terrifying, they had no choice but to fight with their backs against the wall. That might not be the case. Your ancestor Qin Chi is very capable. Jiang Chen's lips curled into a faint smile as he looked at Yi Luoti. Yi Luoti stared at him in disbelief. When the nest is overturned, no eggs will remain intact. Jiang Chen's eyes were incomparably cold. At that moment, Yi Luoti's heart was also filled with joy. It seemed that Qin Chi was going to fight against the Scorpion King. Otherwise, they would all die. You want to use me? In your dreams. Qin Chi said coldly. He wasn't afraid of Jiang Qin at all. However, he was already prepared to leave this place. He couldn't stay here any longer. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Scorpion King hated everyone on the scene. Hundreds of scorpion legs showed how ferocious and dreadful this monster was. That's not up to you. Do you think you can go wherever you want? If you don't kill this Scorpion King today, don't even think about going anywhere. Jiang Chen looked at Qin Chi with disdain. Both of their gazes met once again. Are you trying to scare me? Do you really think that I, Qin Chi, am scared? Ha ha ha, who do you think you are? Do you really think I can't kill you? In this world, nobody can control me. You lowly races, go to hell. This Scorpion King is your nightmare. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave now. None of you can stop me. You're destined to become the food of this Scorpion King. Qin Chi laughed arrogantly. Ancestor Qin Chi, how did he become like this? How? That's impossible. Ancestor Qin Chi, you can't just leave us here. Ancestor Qin Chi, didn't you say that you're going to help us remove the curse? Qin Chi. So this guy is a big liar. Countless people were excited. However, they still couldn't believe it. How could Ancestor Qin Chi go against them? They were still waiting for their Ancestor Qin Chi to help them. But now, they were abandoned by their Ancestor Qin Chi. This was too sad and despairing. Including Lobos and the others, they were all fooled. Ancestor Qin Chi, whom they were so proud of, was now treating them as a lowly race. Moreover, he even abandoned them like a pair of worn-out shoes. Who could accept this? Their hopes, their efforts, and their struggles had all turned into illusions, crushed by Qin Chi with a single stomp of his foot. Their dignity was not worth mentioning. In Qin Chi's eyes, their deaths were like drinking water. He didn't care about them at all. Everything he had said and done before was a lie. Qin Chi had finally revealed his fangs. They had solemnly vowed that ancestor Qin Chi would give up everything for them. Their efforts would be recorded in the annals of the Green On tribe's history. It was as if everything beautiful had been destroyed in an instant. Their hearts were chilled to the bone and filled with despair. It turned out that Qin Chi had always been a big liar. It turned out that they had wrongly accused their patriarch. At this moment, Qin Chi's thoughts were as clear as day. Qin Chi was about to leave, and the lowly races like them would all die under the iron hooves of the Scorpion King. That was why he would reveal such a sinister and cunning side. From start to finish, Qin Chi had never thought highly of these people. This lowly race wanted his protection. It was simply wishful thinking. Bastard! You're an unforgivable bastard. Qin Chi, you'll die a horrible death. 3/4 of our people are dead. So many people are dead, all dead. The main culprit is Qin Chi. We will not live under the same sky as you. The people of the Green On race were enraged. They couldn't stand the scene in front of them. They had been played like monkeys. Indeed, they were all monkeys. Even Chen Lu couldn't help but sigh when she saw this scene. A pitiful person would definitely have a hateful side to them. However, they had become so lowly and helpless. At this moment, when they were once again facing the threat of death, only then did they realize how pitiful and ignorant they were. Yi Rodi was incomparably emotional. A prodigal son was more valuable than gold. These were his descendants, his family. Therefore, he had never cared about them. However, as the patriarch of a race, he would not be able to lead them out of the enemy's ranks. A bunch of ants. Now, all of you will die. Ha ha ha, you will die a worthy death. Consider this a contribution to me. But you are too foolish. In your next life, don't be so foolish. Ha ha ha. Qin Chi laughed maniacally. He held his head high, looking down on everyone else. At this time, the Scorpion King had already climbed out of the pit. It had completely sealed off their path of retreat, making it difficult for them to advance or retreat. I'll go. Qin Chi wanted to fly straight towards the altar, but he didn't expect that he would actually be trapped here. How could this be? Qin Chi's heart chilled. Open for me. Like a mad bull, Qin Chi dashed forward. But in the next second, it was as if he had hit cotton, bouncing back. How could this be? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Qin Chi roared, his face extremely ugly. The altar was right in front of him, only one step away, but he could not cross it no matter what. Chapter 5189. Qin Chi suddenly turned his head to look at Jiang Qin. That's right. In my array, not even the Heavenly King can escape. Jiang Qin smiled. Qin Chi's face was extremely ugly. The Scorpion King was closing in on them. Jiang Qin wanted to drag him down with them to fight the Scorpion King. Bastard, you despicable, shameless dog. Qin Chi was hysterical and furious. Tisk, tsk, tsk. Compared to being despicable, you seem to be even better. Ha ha ha, come on, fight with me. Jiang Qin looked at him coldly. At this time, Yi Rodi also laughed loudly. He was indescribably happy. Just like what Jiang Qin had said before, when the nest is overturned, no eggs remain intact. Even if they died, they would drag Qin Shi down with them. Jiang Chen's words infuriated Qin Shi. He was about to enter the altar, but now, he couldn't even move a single step forward. He couldn't get close to the altar at all. He was actually trapped here by Jiang Qin. Jiang Qin didn't seem to be able to do anything to him. Now, they were all on the same side. Want to run? Not a chance. Qin Shi had schemed and calculated everything. He did not think that he would lift a rock and smash his own foot. This was too depressing. But at this time, Yi Rodi could not help but slap the table and give Jiang Qin a thumbs up. Little friend Jiang Qin, you are really amazing. This old man admires you. Ha ha ha. Yi Rodi's laughter made Qin Shi even angrier. His face was pale, and his anger soared to the sky. But Qin Shi had tried many times to no avail. Right now, he had to fight, even if he did not want to. The arrow was knocked on the bowstring, but it had to be released. Qin Shi's tragic fate made all the members of the Green On tribe extremely happy. Originally, these people were Qin Shi's diehard fans, and they strongly supported him. However, they had been tricked by Qin Shi, and so many of their brothers and relatives had been harmed. This debt made them hate Qin Shi to the bone. Bastard! Even if I die, I'll drag him down with me. That's right. This bastard has done us no small amount of harm. Our Green On tribe will definitely fight him to the death. If we die, he won't live either. Otherwise, we'll perish together. Everyone was already prepared to succeed or die trying. In any case, so many of their loved ones had died. In order to avenge their loved ones, they absolutely couldn't let Qin Shi escape this calamity. Qin Shi's face was as gloomy as water. Looking at the angry faces of these people, his heart was flustered and exasperated. He was not afraid of these people. In his eyes, the people of the Azure On race were trash. What he was most worried about was the 100-legged Scorpion King that had already risen. This big fellow might very well devour all of them and kill them here. What was even more hateful was that this bastard had actually silently trapped him in the formation, leaving him with nowhere to hide at all. Seeing that danger was approaching, he had no way out. If this went on, they might all perish here. This was a life-or-death match. He had cut off his escape route. This Jiang Qin was really a ruthless person. Qin Shi gritted his teeth. But at this time, it was too late to say anything. He had already been schemed against, and the main culprit was Jiang Qin. Now he was a little regretful. Why didn't he kill this bastard earlier? Now he had actually failed miserably. I will definitely kill you with my own hands. Qin Shi glared angrily at Jiang Qin. You might not have that chance. Come on, let's attack together. Once we kill this Scorpion King, we will have a chance to fight to the death. It won't be too late then. Your opponent right now isn't me. Jiang Qin shrugged as he spoke. He strolled leisurely, calm and unruffled. Roar, roar, all of you must die. Before Qin Shi could go berserk at Jiang Qin, the 100-legged Scorpion King had already completely stood up from the pit below the square. Its 100-jong body was unreachable. Its 100 feet swayed, and its momentum was unstoppable. Jiang Qin was facing a formidable foe. No one could stay out of this battle. Qin Shi also knew that he was at the juncture of life and death. The members of the Green On race put down their prejudices and faced the enemy together. At this time, there was no right or wrong to speak of. Whoever could survive would be the strongest. Rumble, the Scorpion King's body moved, rolling over with a loud rumble. A centipede. This time, Jiang Qin had truly witnessed it. Be careful. Jiang Qin glanced at Qin Lu and prepared to fight. At this time, Jiang Qin was not worried that Qin Shi would not act. If he did not, everyone would die. How strong this Scorpion King was would depend on whether he could withstand the attacks. Jiang Qin flew up and launched a heavy punch. No one would doubt his strength as a 9th heavenly layer star realm expert. However, Qin Chi was quite wary when he burned the scorpion just now. Looks like this fella is quite something. But now, the formation had trapped all of them. Jiang Chen had silently tied all of them together. Qin Chi knew that there was no way out for him. Qin Chi gripped his spear and rose up, attacking aggressively. He did not dare to be careless. He did not understand array techniques, but he knew that being trapped here meant that he had no chance. He could only fight with his back to the wall. Only by killing the Scorpion King would he have a chance to kill Jiang Qin. Otherwise, he would be trapped here by a beast. Qin Chi would not be satisfied. Yi Rodi did not dare to be careless. At this time, he once again led the members of the Green On race to fight the Scorpion King to the death. All members of the Green On race, fight with me. Bloodthirsty Scorpion King. No one dared to question Yi Rodi's status. Chapter 5190. A bunch of lowly insects. You killed my disciples. You're all going to die. The Scorpion King's deep and heavy voice carried a hint of bloodlust as it reverberated throughout the plaza, causing everyone's eardrums to hurt and their scalps to go numb. This guy is too strong. Are we all going to die here? Yes, leader. This guy is too strong. We're no match for him at all. We can only make meaningless sacrifices now. Jiang Qin, aren't you capable? Why don't you think of a solution? What should we do? We can't all die here and be wiped out. Yes, yes. Jiang Qin, think of a way. We're all relying on you. At this moment, all the members of the Qing Mang race weren't as arrogant as before. All their hopes were gathered on Jiang Qin because they knew that Qin Chi was exposed by Jiang Qin. Moreover, he could use a formation to trap Qin Chi here. He would definitely be able to lead them out of this land of death. But at this moment, Jiang Qin shook his head. There was no way. They could only fight head-on. This Scorpion King was strong, but he hadn't broken through to the cosmic cloud state. Otherwise, none of them would be able to escape. The biggest problem now was that this Scorpion King was too big. Moreover, its defensive power was incomparably shocking. It was impossible to break through its defense. It was impossible to injure it. Qin Chi, it's time to show your true power. Jiang Chen looked at Qin Chi and said with a smile. After that, Jiang Chen did not look at him anymore. He turned around with the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and soared into the sky. The sword chi swept across 90,000 li and the sword light swept across the heavens and earth. Everyone was shocked. Jiang Chen, who was holding the heavenly dragon sword, looked like a god of war. He was extremely terrifying. Edited by Lifer, Fingerfox. Is this Jiang Chen's true power? Too strong. So he's been hiding his power. I feel like I'm suffocating when I look at this sword. We're both level 9 star states, but why do I feel like I'm trash? There's no need to feel. Be more confident. You're just a piece of trash. The people of the Qing Mang clan were shocked by Jiang Chen's strength. He was too handsome, too valiant, giving people a shocking feeling. Even Yi Luodi was ashamed of his inferiority. Although he had never really fought with Jiang Qin, this man was simply beyond his reach. Sword 31. Sword 32. Jiang Qin directly used the dragon transformation, holding the heavenly dragon sword in his hand. His aura was shocking, like a terrifying sharp knife, piercing into the enemy's heart. Exquisite sword chi traversed between heaven and earth. It was as if the entire space had solidified. Chi, 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 chi. A series of sonic booms rang out. The instant the sword light descended, even the Scorpion King was forced to take several steps back. Deep sword wounds appeared on his body, but his foundation was still not completely damaged. Damn it! Chapter 5191. One Sun Finger. Double Dragon Finger. Three-fold Finger. Four-directional Finger. Four finger imprints descended from the sky and struck out consecutively. The powerful force crushed downward, crushing everything in its path like a hot knife through butter. Bang! 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 Countless finger imprints were left on the Scorpion King's body. Even the Scorpion King was forced to retreat. At this moment, Jiang Qin and Qin Qi were fighting each other in pairs, and began to launch a frenzied counterattack. Qin Qi looked at Jiang Qin in shock. This guy gave him quite a shock. He was able to display extraordinary strength at this time and was completely unafraid of the Scorpion King. He was even stronger than the patriarch of the Qing Mang tribe, Yi Luodi. This was his confidence. Although Qin Qi hated Jiang Qin, he could only let go of the grudge at this time. After all, they were facing a life-and-death enemy. Only by killing the Scorpion King could they settle the score. Jiang Qin took the lead at this time and blocked many attacks for the Qing Mang tribe. The centipede Scorpion King's strength was astonishing. It was easy for him to fight against 100 people. The Qing Mang tribe finally knew who their savior was. Yi Luodi followed closely behind Jiang Qin's footsteps and began to charge rapidly. All of this was their own fault. Jiang Qin was the only one who could stay out of this, but he chose to advance and retreat together with the Qing Mang tribe. He was not like Qin Qi, who schemed and planned to kill all of them in the end. Unfortunately, there was reincarnation. Jiang Qin used a formation to trap Qin Qi, forcing him to submit. Now that everyone was united against a common enemy, they could have a chance to survive. Although the Qing Mang tribe could not turn the tide, they were definitely a force that could not be underestimated. Therefore, Qin Qi did not want to be entangled with them and planned to kill them here. The more the heavenly dragon sword fought, the more valiant it became. The terrifying sword momentum completely allowed Jiang Qin to take the initiative. He attacked crazily. Limitless sword, supreme realm, omnipotent. Cracks finally appeared on the Scorpion King's body under Jiang Qin's desperate slashes of sword qi. Even its exterior defense began to crack. Jiang Qin's speed was fast enough that the Scorpion King couldn't catch him. The larger one's body was, the more restricted one's speed would be. Even the Scorpion King was no exception. That was why Jiang Qin was able to seize this opportunity. Ancestor Jiang Qin is really too strong. Di Luo murmured. At this time, he was the only hope of the Qing Mang clan. He had made a great contribution to the Qing Mang clan this time. One after another, the heavenly green monkeys attacked with all their might. Such spirit was worthy of him to feel proud of. Chen Lu followed closely behind, leading the Qing Mang clan in a crazy counterattack. She had never understood why Jiang Qin still had hope for the Qing Mang clan. Now, she understood. It was not that the Qing Mang clan discriminated against Jiang Qin. Even if they died, they could not let their descendants continue to sink and suffer the torment of the curse. This was a fearless suicidal charge, and also their swan song for life. It was worthy of praise, worthy of fighting bravely while bathed in blood. 5 Elements Finger. Jiang Qin pointed to the sky, the power to uproot mountains. The power of the 9 tribulation heavenly imprisoning finger had once again undergone a qualitative transformation. The 5 Elements Finger gathered all of Jiang Qin's Genesis Qi and pierced through space, as well as the Scorpion King's body. The 5 scorpion legs were instantly torn apart. The 5 Elements Finger seemed invincible. What a terrifying finger technique! Qin Qi mumbled in his heart. However, he could not afford to be careless at this juncture. This was the best opportunity. Jiang Chen had already pierced through the Scorpion King's body, and Qin Shi had to take advantage of this opportunity to take his life. Qin Shi brandished his spear, his aura intimidating like a supreme sovereign. He stirred the wind and clouds as he stepped on the waves. The black hole-like spear pierced through the clouds, causing the surrounding space to change color. The Scorpion King's scorpion legs began to crazily smash downwards like pincers. Terrifying pincers were everywhere, seemingly capable of crushing a person to pieces. Giant craters were smashed everywhere as Qin Shi continuously tumbled down, retreating in order to advance. Spear of Chaos, Heaven Opening Form. Qin Shi did not look sideways as he gripped his spear and attacked again. All of his Genesis Chi poured into the spear in an instant, making it unstoppable and unstoppable. The spear pierced through space, unbridled and unbridled, descending from the heavens like a guest from outer space. The domineering spear carried an unstoppable aura of destruction, filling the Scorpion King with wariness as it began its desperate counterattack. "You're dreaming if you think you can kill me." The Scorpion King let out a furious roar. It raised its legs to the sky, wanting to block Qin Shi's spear even if it had to die. A loud boom rang out as Qin Shi's spear light destroyed dozens of the Scorpion King's legs. But at this time, the Scorpion King's weak spot was exposed. Jiang Chen coldly chuckled as he found an opportunity to begin his counterattack. The heavenly dragon sword was like an azure dragon emerging from the sea as it slashed across the sky. A row of scorpion legs were cut down by Jiang Chen's sharp sword light as the Scorpion King's wails rang out incessantly. "Good. We're saved. Jiang Chen is mighty." Countless people cried out in surprise, joy filling their faces. They had finally seen the hope of survival. Although Jiang Chen and Qin Shi's cooperation was not that good, the two knew how to find the other's weakest point to attack at the crucial moment. They also knew how to use the simplest method to complete the greatest attack. "If you want me to die, you'll have to die with me." The Scorpion King inhaled and exhaled madly at this moment. Waves of mist spread out, bringing with it an incomparable poison. Everyone paled. The celestial azure monkeys at the very front were enveloped by the mist, instantly losing their ability to fight. Their bodies began to fester as they were in excruciating pain. In less than 10 seconds, they had turned into puddles of pus. "Quickly run, this Scorpion King's poison is too strong." Yi Luoti's pupils constricted as he watched his tribesmen fall into puddles of blood as he roared. Everyone's expression was gloomy as they trembled in fear. 6th or 7th heavenly layer star realm experts turned into puddles of pus after coming in contact with the poison. It was too terrifying. Not only them, even the divine weapons in the hands of the celestial azure monkeys had turned into ashes. It was enough to see how strong the corrosive power of this poison was. "Retreat!" Jiang Chen roared. This was the first time he had seen such a poison mist. These weak people could not withstand it at all. Only death awaited them. Qin Shi's expression was also sinister as he pulled out his divine spear and rapidly retreated. At the crucial moment, he could only avoid the tip of the spear. However, although Qin Shi and the rest had all retreated, Jiang Chen did not because his body was impervious to poison. Jiang Chen's hand came in contact with the poison mist. Instantly, his palm turned purplish-black and rapidly spread to his arm. Chapter 5192. Chen Lu's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Seeing that Jiang Chen had already been corroded by the poisonous mist, everyone's hearts were trembling in fear and disbelief. If Jiang Chen died, they definitely wouldn't have any way to escape. This guy is simply courting death. Qin Shi frowned and sneered. However, if he died, the formation would collapse on its own. It would be even easier for him to escape. Little friend Jiang Chen. Yi Luoti also took a deep breath. Jiang Chen represented their life and death. If Jiang Chen fell, it would be equivalent to announcing the death of the Green On tribe. To them, this was undoubtedly fatal. Under my poisonous mist, no one can survive. Ha 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 ha. The Scorpion King's complacent voice reverberated between heaven and earth, causing everyone to feel a terrifying sense of despair. However, Jiang Chen was unruffled and turned a deaf ear to it. His body trembled and the fire qi in his body instantly spread throughout his entire body. The purplish-black poison was instantly cleansed completely. This poisonous mist of yours is really ordinary. Jiang Chen shook his head and said disapprovingly. Chen Lu heaved a sigh of relief. Her pretty face was filled with anxiety. It turned out that big brother Jiang Chen was using his own body to test the poison. It was really frightening. Looking at the pus in the pool of blood, Chen Lu was really afraid that big brother Jiang Chen would become like them in the next second. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. The Scorpion King roared. This poisonous mist of yours was emitted at the cost of your own flesh and blood. Right now, your body shouldn't be as strong as before. If I'm not wrong, this poisonous mist is a sacrifice of your flesh and blood. You're indeed vicious, but you're also an arrow at the end of its flight. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. He had long been immune to poisons. In this poisonous mist, he could already feel that it was the Scorpion King's flesh powder that he had activated. These things were his trump cards, but after activating the flesh powder, his body would also suffer varying degrees of damage. If it wasn't for the fact that he was in a life and death situation, the Scorpion King wouldn't have used such a method. However, what he didn't expect was that he had encountered a rather terrifying old poisonous creature. He was poisonous, but Jiang Chen was even more poisonous than him. Even when his entire body was enveloped by the poisonous fog, Jiang Chen remained calm and unruffled. In the end, he even broke the Scorpion King's poisonous fog. Nonsense, you're courting death. The Scorpion King roared, but in Jiang Chen's ears, it sounded like it was putting on a brave front. Because everything Jiang Chen said was true. His body had become very weak right now, and such a large amount of poisonous fog must have come from his body. If that was the case, everyone could only flee for their lives. He thought that all of these people would be killed by the poison, but he had bumped into a jinx like Jiang Chen. Roar, roar, the Scorpion King's roar was filled with unwillingness. However, how could Jiang Chen and Qin Qi be ordinary people? This time around, Chu Feng had completely suppressed him. Furthermore, the injuries on his body had increased more and more. Charge with me, fight this Scorpion King to avenge our dead brothers. Yi Rodi bellowed. All the members of the Green Edge tribe began their final charge at this moment. With the likes of Jiang Chen and Qin Qi in front of them, they had nothing to fear. Now, the Scorpion King had really become a soft persimmon that anyone could need. The Sky Dragon sword continued to tear open the Scorpion King's back. His flesh was a mess, and the sword qi slashed down. His protective aura was no longer as terrifying as before. It was only a matter of time before he was slaughtered. As the poisonous fog dispersed, Jiang Chen had already taken the absolute initiative. This time, the Scorpion King actually began to retreat, and he did not even want to continue fighting with them. However, how could Jiang Chen let him leave so easily? At this time, the infinite sword was stronger than before. Under the full attack, the Scorpion King had nowhere to hide. Ah, spare me, please spare me. Chapter 5193. Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and stood proudly like a deity as he slashed at the Scorpion King's head. His heroic bearing and unparalleled aura shocked all the members of the Green On tribe. If not for Jiang Chen, they would have fallen and none of them would have been able to live. Facing the terrifying Scorpion King, they had already lost all hope. It was Jiang Chen who had regained their confidence. At the juncture of life and death, He had seen through that bastard Qin Chi's plot and given them a new lease of life. That damned bastard. The Scorpion King has finally been defeated. Ha ha ha. Humph, he killed so many of our people. We must tear him to pieces. That's right. This bastard must not be left alive. He must receive the punishment he deserves. Many members of the Green On tribe were filled with righteous indignation. At this moment, they wanted nothing more than to devour the Scorpion King's flesh. Exalted Immortal, please spare my life. I know I was wrong. The Scorpion King's weak and sorrowful voice reverberated in the void and around the square. However, Jiang Qin did not hesitate. If he did not die, how would he answer to the Green On tribe? So many people had died because of the Scorpion King. Such a grudge of life and death was absolutely irreconcilable. There is nothing wrong with the world. You could have continued to cultivate here in peace. However, you wanted to devour us. Isn't that difficult? Do not have the intention to harm others. Since you have the intention to kill, you should know that if you fail, only death awaits you. Jiang Qin said without batting an eyelid. Exalted Immortal, I beg you to spare me. As long as you let me go, I will tell you about the treasure in the altar. The Scorpion King said anxiously. The treasure in the altar. Jiang Qin frowned. This Scorpion King was born in this place. It seemed like he knew what kind of treasure was in this place. Otherwise, he wouldn't have revealed such a secret before his death. Jiang Qin frowned. Yes, the treasure in the altar. Didn't you come here for the treasure in the altar? The Scorpion King said solemnly. As long as you let me go, let me live, I will tell you everything. At this moment, Jiang Qin and Yi Rodi exchanged glances. Both of them were in disbelief. Whether or not the Scorpion King's words could be trusted, they did not know. However, it was an indisputable fact that he had killed so many members of the Green On race. However, just as Jiang Qin and Yi Rodi were hesitating, Qin Chi's long spear arrived first. Then, the spear shot out like a dragon with irresistible force, directly penetrating the Scorpion King's heart. No, the Scorpion King's struggling voice rang in everyone's ears, full of difficulty and despair. At this moment, Jiang Qin's heart sank. Qin Chi had attacked without the slightest hesitation. Clearly, he didn't want them to know about the secret within the altar. Qin Chi entered the underground altar, but they were blocked outside. Jiang Qin's expression darkened. Sure enough, this guy was trying to take all the treasures for himself. Now, they couldn't even move an inch forward, they were completely blocked. Everyone was surrounding the altar. There was a stone pillar in the middle, and there were 9 stone chairs surrounding it. Those 9 ferocious-looking men, or rather, 9 different existences, all of them carried a domineering aura, and were unstoppable. In the center of the stone platform, there was no longer the groove in front of the jade pendant. Jiang Qin didn't know what kind of existence it was. Originally, he had the chance to find out, but he didn't expect Qin Chi to kill the Scorpion King at the critical moment without giving him a chance. What do we do now? Yi Luodi's face was gloomy. Qin Chi came here because of your reputation. It's definitely not a groundless rumor. He schemed to come here, and has already calculated everything. It seems like there must be a big secret on your Green On clan. Jiang Qin looked at Yi Luodi with a smile that wasn't a smile. Clan leader Yi, does your Green On clan have any legends about the ancient times? Yi Luodi was stunned, and then laughed bitterly. Young friend Jiang Qin, you must be joking. Ever since our Green On clan was born on the Wood Kuei star, we've suffered all kinds of dangers. We barely survived, and our legacy has been passed down from generation to generation. We can't escape the curse of not being able to live for more than 1,000 years after leaving the Wood Kuei star. If you want to talk about legends, there really is one. What legend? Jiang Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. It's the legend about the two great war gods. Chapter 5194. Legend of the God of War. Jiang Chen couldn't help but frown. It seemed that the matters on Kuei Wood Star were quite complicated. Patriarch Yi, why don't you tell me about it? Jiang Chen glanced at the 9 stone chairs around him and said thoughtfully. According to legend, a long, long time ago, there weren't so many storms on Kuei Wood Star, nor were there so many natural disasters. On the contrary, at that time, Kuei Wood Star was full of birds and flowers. Many people were willing to come here. Whether it was for cultivation or leisure, it was very comfortable. Moreover, there were many spirit beasts here, and many things grew. However, where there are people, there are bound to be conflicts. There were still many disputes, but they were all clashes between different clans to fight for territory. It was considered peaceful. But suddenly, the Feather Clan descended. It was a great disaster for the people of Kuei Wood Star. Since then, in order to occupy the resources of our Kuei Wood Star, the Feather Clan began to expand rapidly, burning and looting. As long as it is a treasure, it will be taken by them. As long as it is a blessed land, there will be a place for the Feather Clan. Yi Luodi said in a low voice. They are robbers, they are robbers. They turned the entire Kuei Wood Star upside down. The beasts on our Kuei Wood Star were in darkness. They are beasts. The Feather Clan is not worthy of being called humans. When Yi Luodi mentioned the Feather Clan, his face was full of murderous intent. It could be seen that the Feather Clan must have harmed their Kuei Wood Star a lot. At this time, the Feather Clan said that they found a treasure on our Kuei Wood Star, so many top experts came and wanted to take our Kuei Wood Star for themselves. I only heard that the Feather Clan ordered to eradicate all living beings on the entire Kuei Wood Star. It was called the Star Assassination Plan. After that, their massacres increased and intensified. The number of people who died at their hands was uncountable. Jiang Chen had a grim look on his face as well. The Feather Tribe had never been good people from the beginning. They seemed to have become the public enemy of mankind. It was a miracle that they were still alive. Jiang Chen had killed quite a few harpies, but there were still a lot of them active in the everlasting realm. One of his long-cherished wishes was to kill them all one day and restore peace to the everlasting realm. But at this time, when the entire Wood Kuei Star was in dire straits, an unparalleled god of war descended upon our Wood Kuei Star like a deity. From then on, spring has arrived for our Wood Kuei Star. At that time, the demonic beasts of our Kuei Wood planet were oppressed by the Feather race, and we were already unable to breathe. Under the Star Assassination Plan, many extinct races even appeared. It was truly tragic and dark. The appearance of that person gave us hope. A man with a battle spear swept across the world. No one in the Feather Clan was his opponent. He went on a killing spree, and wherever he went, not even a blade of grass grew. The Feather Clan was terrified. A battle spear pierced through the sky. In those 7 days, the Feather Clan suffered countless casualties. It was called the 7 Days of Blood. The battle spear was stained with the blood of countless Feather Clan members, but it saved the natives of our Wood Kuei Star. All the demonic beasts lined the road to welcome him, grateful for the hope and light he brought to us. From then on, he became the object of worship for all races and was regarded as our ancestor. Without him, all the demonic beasts on our Wood Kuei Star would have been killed by the Feather Clan. Yi Luodi's voice was sonorous and incomparably solemn. This so-called ancestor was incomparably lofty in his heart. Although Yi Luodi had never seen the demeanor of this ancient peerless deity, he was still very respectful towards this legendary ancestor. Jiang Chen's heart couldn't help but move. Holding a battle spear and possessing the power of stars? Could it be Senior Longfoot? Jiang Chen extended his hand, and the dragon bone battle spear appeared in his hand. Jiang Chen looked at Yi Luodi and asked in a low voice, "Could it be this battle spear?" Jiang Chen's words made Yi Luodi tremble. His pupils constricted, and his heart pounded. As the patriarch of the Green On clan, he had seen the portrait of the Dragonbone battle spear. It had been passed down by the ancestors of the Green On clan. Yi Luodi looked at the Dragonbone battle spear in Jiang Chen's hand in disbelief. Is this the Dragonbone battle spear that the Sky God ancestor used? It wasn't just Yi Luodi. All the members of the Green On clan were very excited. Many of them had seen the Dragonbone battle spear in the ancestral hall. When Jiang Chen held the Dragonbone battle spear, they were enlightened and excited. Was this the successor of their ancestor? This was the person they had been waiting for. The Dragonbone battle spear was given to me by my master, Longfoot. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. His tone was full of respect. If it wasn't for Buddha Prison Palace and the stellar transformation, he wouldn't have been able to come so far. Senior Longfoot's kindness to him was as heavy as a mountain. Back when Jiang Chen first entered the eternal world, it was all because of the stellar transformation that helped him and made him who he was. Is this really the Dragonbone battle spear in our ancestors' hands? Who would have thought that Jiang Chen is our ancestor? We have wronged ancestor Jiang Chen. We shouldn't have done this. That's right. I really want to slap my own face. Ancestor Jiang Chen, please forgive us. We have wrongly accused you. From now on, Ancestor Jiang Chen is our leader. If Ancestor Jiang Chen wants us to go east, we will not go west. At this moment, the people of the Green On clan finally knew who their ancestor was. Everyone was extremely excited. They had thought that Qin Chi was a fake and that they had lost their backbone. But now, it seemed that Ancestor Jiang Chen was the one they had been waiting for. They were too ashamed to show their faces after framing Jiang Chen's ancestor. Now that the Dragonbone battle spear was in Jiang Chen's hands, all their doubts were easily resolved. Yi Rodi's eyes were full of respect. At this moment, the person they had been searching for was right in front of them. They had failed miserably. They had almost treated Ancestor Jiang Chen as an enemy. To the Green On clan, this was a great humiliation. The flood had washed away the temple of the Dragon King. One family did not recognize another. Everyone, kneel. Yi Rodi bellowed. Chapter 5195. Ancestor, please forgive our sins. By the Dragonbone spear, please accept our worship. Yi Luodi led all the members of the Green Light clan to kneel down. Jiang Chen frowned and smiled bitterly. You guys better get up quickly. I'm really not used to this. But don't worry, I definitely won't disappoint you. Since my master helped you get through the difficult times back then, I won't sit idly by this time. Jiang Chen hurriedly called for them to get up. Di Luo finally had his grievances cleared. He was so excited that he couldn't restrain himself. I told you that Ancestor Jiang Chen is our ancestor, but none of you listened. Now you know you were wrong. Di Luo was as proud as a child who had eaten candy. He was surrounded by everyone and was full of pride. With Ancestor Jiang Chen here, we won't return empty-handed this time. Yi Luodi waved his arms, his excitement evident in his words. Jiang Chen also had a helpless expression. He was now shouldering a heavy responsibility. What happened next? My master wielded the Dragonbone spear and killed so many Feather Race members. How did this happen? Now the entire Tree Kuei planet is riddled with holes. It's practically a wasted planet. Jiang Chen asked solemnly. Ancestor Jiang Chen is right. This matter isn't over yet. However, Ancestor Longfoot was truly a god who descended from the heavens. He was invincible. He killed hundreds of thousands of Feather Race members and finally returned peace to our Tree Kuei planet. Although many beasts have died, most of the beasts on the tree Kuei planet have been preserved. As long as time passes, we can slowly recover to our peak. Ancestor Longfoot rebuilt Kuei Wood planet for us and also discovered many blessed lands and grotto heavens. However, the weather is unpredictable, and good people may not be rewarded. The more Yi Luodi spoke, the angrier he became. It was obvious that he couldn't control his emotions. Is there someone behind this? Jiang Chen was getting more and more curious. It seemed that Senior Longfoot had left some traces on the tree Kuei planet. At this time, a black-clothed man suddenly appeared. It was said that he came from the Netherworld realm. He said that Ancestor Longfoot had killed too many people and wanted to suppress him. However, Ancestor Longfoot definitely wouldn't agree. A great battle ensued. Ancestor Longfoot's strength was astonishing. Even the powerhouse who claimed to be from the Netherworld realm wasn't Senior Longfoot's opponent. However, the battle between the two was too terrifying. It shook rivers, causing spacetime to collapse. Mountains and rivers turned upside down. The disaster of Tree Kuei planet also happened at this time. Although Senior Longfoot tried his best to save the planet, it was like trying to put out a burning cart of firewood with a cup of water. At this time, the black-clothed man from the Netherworld realm came again. He brought another person with him. According to the black-clothed man, the other powerhouse was known as Supremacy 9, also known as the God of War. When the two of them joined forces, even Ancestor Longfoot could only avoid them. At this time, the tree Kuei planet once again fell into a state of collapse. All the originally beautiful things became cruel. Countless beasts fell, mountains collapsed, volcanoes erupted, storms raged. The tree Kuei planet once again fell into a crisis. In the end, Ancestor Longfoot left in defeat. The remaining two people, the overlord of the Netherworld realm and the powerhouse known as Supremacy 9, launched an attack. The battle between the two completely tore the tree Kuei planet apart, plunging our tree Kuei planet into an abyss of suffering. In less than 1,000 years, the originally beautiful tree Kuei planet gradually declined. More and more natural disasters began to erode our tree Kuei planet. Generations of beasts also died. Gradually, after tens of thousands of years, all the creatures on the tree Kuei planet died. Without these creatures, the beasts that relied on each other for survival completely lost the capital to survive. In the end, our tree Kuei planet couldn't escape the misfortune and became a veritable waste planet. Yi Luodi's words were filled with righteous indignation. However, it was all in the past. What could he do now that he talked about it? The tree Kuei planet had already become like this. It was useless to say anything. Even Longfoot couldn't save the situation. But what shocked Jiang Chen the most was, who were these two people who defeated Senior Longfoot? Senior Longfoot was an existence that even the Eternal Lord was quite afraid of. How strong were these two people? One claimed to be from the Netherworld realm, and the other was known as Supremacy 9. Jiang Chen didn't know what kind of close relationship these two people had. But at this time, he knew that the secret of the tree Kuei planet was far from as simple as he thought. Where did those two people go in the end? Jiang Chen asked. I'm not sure. According to my ancestor, they might have perished together. The two of them were also competing for the treasure of the tree Kuei planet. I don't know what kind of treasure it is. So many years have passed, and the passage of time has long erased the traces. As for those two people, I don't know where they are anymore. Yi Luodi said with great emotion. By the way, Ancestor Jiang Chen, what about Ancestor Longfoot? Where is he now? Jiang Chen shook his head. My teacher has already passed away. Who in the world can avoid death? The world is eternal, but it can't exist forever. Yi Luodi's face was full of shame and sorrow as he silently nodded. Those two guys should also be very terrifying powerhouses. But these 9 stone chairs are a bit interesting. Could it be that they were left behind by the so-called Supremacy 9? The altar here is also very strange. Whether it's that person from the Netherworld realm or the Supremacy 9, I have to go take a look. At the very least, I have to break your curse. Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. If there was no accident, those 2 people and Senior Longfooter should be fighting over the core of the star. It seemed that those 2 people were also unparalleled powerhouses on the same level as Senior Longfooter. Their strength was not something he could guess at all. Thank you, Ancestor Jiang Chen. Yi Luodi had a face of excitement. The power of Jiang Chen's ancestor far exceeded his expectations. Even a peak star state wouldn't be at a disadvantage against a half-step nebula state like Qin Chi. One could imagine that the inheritor of Ancestor Longfooter must be extraordinary. No need to thank me. Let's hurry up and find out how this Qin Chi got under the altar. Yi Luodi was also very cautious, but he didn't dare to say much. It was better for him to obediently follow behind Ancestor Jiang Chen. The Puting clan, Jiang Chen murmured and continued to walk forward. Both sides of the corridor were filled with skeletons, which made people feel uncomfortable. These skeletons were very large and seemed to belong to large demon beasts. Jiang Chen took a closer look and found that these skeletons were somewhat similar to the Puting clan's demon beasts that Yi Luodi had mentioned before. These demon beast skeletons seemed to belong to Puting. Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. Everyone nodded silently. There were so many Puting skeletons, there were hundreds and thousands of them. Is the Puting clan really as weak as we thought? I remember that the Puting clan's strength is very strong. These Puting clan are all adults, how could they all die here? Yi Luodi was very puzzled. If so, it's not normal for so many Puting to be buried here. Jiang Chen asked. These Puting clan's necks seem to have been broken. They didn't die of natural causes or natural disasters. Jiang Chen scanned through almost all of the Puting clan skeletons, but he didn't find anything different. In other words, they all died with their necks broken. Moreover, they were all neatly placed on both sides of the corridor. It was really unbelievable. Ancestor Jiang Chen, you mean that the Puting clan didn't necessarily die of natural disasters or natural extinction, but were killed by someone? Yi Luodi seemed to have understood Ancestor Jiang Chen's meaning. I can't rule out this possibility. Jiang Chen nodded. The Puting clan was indeed a terrifying existence. It was said that they were one of the 4 great demon beasts in the ancient times. They were not simple at all. The extinction of their clan has always been a mystery. Until today, no one knows the truth. It seems like there's more to this matter. Yi Luodi nodded silently. But their deaths were not the problem that Jiang Chen was concerned about. What he wanted to find was Qin Chi, the secret of this underground sacrificial altar. The only one who knew the secret, the Scorpion King, had been killed by that bastard Qin Chi. There's movement. Let's go. Jiang Chen said in a low voice. He frowned and quickly flew towards the end of the corridor. All the members of the Green Light clan hurried to catch up. Jiang Chen felt a sound ahead. It was likely Qin Chi. That guy had been here for a while. Now they could only feel the stones to cross the river. Jiang Chen and the others ran for several miles before reaching the end of the corridor. The surrounding Puting clan skeletons gradually disappeared. They came to an even larger underground plaza. The surroundings stretched as far as the eye could see, just like an underground cave. So big. It was ridiculously big, and it even made people feel like they were very small. The surroundings were filled with magma. Chapter 5197. So it's there. Jiang Chen smiled faintly. It seemed like they weren't too late. Qin hadn't lagged behind them for too long. Although it was only a few thousand meters away, it was enough to stop them from taking another step forward. Ancestor Jiangqin, I'm afraid that anyone below the 9th layer of the star stage will not be able to endure for long. Even a quarter of an hour is likely the limit, said Yi Rodi in a low voice. Yi Rodi said in a low voice. This sea of magma was like a tiger blocking their way. Right now, they couldn't move an inch and could only watch helplessly. Qin, you didn't expect us to come again, right? Shouted Jiangqin. Qin abruptly turned his head and saw Jiangqin and the others standing at the edge of the magma sea, hesitating to advance. He immediately burst into laughter. Now you guys know how dangerous this place is. You guys should thank me. If not for me, you guys would have died long ago. You guys will not be able to endure the magma sea. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Otherwise, you will die a graveless death and be burned to ashes. Qin sneered. There was no need to explain how terrifying the magma sea was. Even the strongest expert would not be able to ignore it, and could only rely on Genesis Qi to defend. However, once one reached their limits, it would be the same as death, and one would likely be incinerated into nothingness by the magma sea. If not for the 9 elemental ice soul in his hand, Qin would have already been unable to endure. The 9 elemental ice soul was his secret treasure that was extremely effective against the magma. With it, he would be able to use the least amount of Genesis Qi to resist the danger of the magma sea. Damn it, he's just pretending to be obedient after taking advantage of us. He must have some secret treasure that no one knows about. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to ignore the magma sea. Yi Rodi viciously said. I'm afraid that you don't have the qualifications. We will definitely find a way to catch up to you. Jiangqin said without batting an eyelid. At this moment, he could actually walk on the waves and the waves of fire above the magma. Because he possessed the 5 elemental divine fire, he did not have to worry about being pressured by any flames at all. However, the people around him might not be so lucky. If they were to make a mistake, they would be completely annihilated. Therefore, Jiangqin did not act rashly and waited for Qin's next move. Dream on. If you have the ability, come over first. I'm almost there. The treasure is right in front of you. It's a pity that you don't even have the right to see it. Qin laughed maniacally. Right now, he was completely unafraid of Jiangqin. As long as he obtained the treasures, he would be able to rest easy. Killing them would be as easy as taking something out of his pocket. You think you're worthy of the treasure? Even if you get the treasure, I'm afraid you don't have the right to use it. Jiangqin said sarcastically on purpose. You don't have to provoke me. When the time comes, you will naturally know how powerful I am. Do you see that? That golden roulette on top of the spatial cliff is the thing I've been looking for. Today, I've finally obtained the indestructible golden roulette. From now on, I will be able to dominate the world. Qin's eyes were filled with a fiery feeling. The golden roulette on top of the spatial cliff also attracted everyone's attention. Initially, Jiangqin also thought that it was just a flickering golden dot. But when he looked at it, he realized that it was actually a golden roulette. It seemed like this thing was absolutely not simple. Since it could make Qin chase after it like a flock of ducks, traveling thousands of miles to search for it, it was undoubtedly a true treasure. The indestructible golden roulette. Jiangqin murmured. His lips curled into a faint smile. This thing, he was determined to have it. However, Jiangqin was not in a hurry to act. At this moment, Qin thought that he had already obtained the roulette. Jiangqin would show him who was the true overlord later on. Whether I'm trying to provoke you or not, you'll know in a moment. Unfortunately, everything you've done is for me. I really don't know if I should thank you or not. He. Jiang Chen said with a calm smile. You don't have much ability, but you sure know how to boast. If you have the ability, you should come to me first. We're separated by the sea, but I feel that you guys are too insignificant. You can't even enter my sight. Qin Chi smiled indifferently, looking calm and unruffled. This guy is too despicable, bullying us because we can't get close to him. Then, we'll stay here and guard him. I don't believe that he can fly to the sky or dive into the sea of magma. Yi Luodi was so angry that his eyes turned green. Jiang Chen looked over. At this moment, he could truly feel that this was an incomparably gigantic humanoid figure. And the indestructible golden roulette was in the giant's hand, which was also the place on the cliff that they saw earlier. Was this really a stone man? Jiang Chen didn't dare to believe it. This stone man was too lifelike. His silhouette was no different from a normal human. Most importantly, he was standing there, not moving at all. He had already sunk deep into the magma, and his legs were just below the magma. He was like a giant standing in the sea of magma. Wouldn't he have melted long ago? Jiang Chen shook his head. Perhaps he was too sensitive. If he was really a human, how could he be stuck in the sea of magma? Jiang Chen searched everywhere, but he couldn't find the slightest flaw. Could it be that this place was really empty, and there was only a single indestructible golden roulette? Jiang Chen truly didn't feel the aura of a star's core. Could there really be a star's core here? Ancestor Jiang Chen, we'll wait for him here. I don't believe that he can fly to the sky or dive into the earth. With so many of us here, if we work together, we can definitely defeat him. Di Luo vowed solemnly. But Jiang Chen just smiled and shook his head. Wait until he gets the indestructible golden roulette. Do you think we'll still be his match? Di Luo and all the members of the Green On clan held their breaths. Indeed, the current Qin Chi was terrifying enough. If he obtained the indestructible golden roulette, his strength would definitely soar. At that time, they wouldn't stand a chance. It's good that you know. It's a pity that you don't have a chance anymore. It's too late to leave. Wait until I get the indestructible golden roulette. I'll make all of you regret it. The legend of the war god back then was indeed very heroic and domineering. However, our feather race suffered a great loss because of it. This time, I will definitely get the indestructible golden roulette. With the glory of our feather race, we'll trample every corner of your tree Kuei star. Qin Chi's voice was low and incomparably cold. At this moment, the members of the Green On clan seemed to have woken up from a dream. So this Qin Chi had been plotting this all along. He was actually a member of the feather race. What? He's actually a member of the feather race. Yi Luodi's face was pale. They had actually recognized a traitor as their father. They had almost become Qin Chi's lackeys. Feather race, it was the feather race again. Chapter 5198. Everyone was riled up. The people of the feather race had always been a taboo to them. They hated them to the bone. Countless of their ancestors had been killed because of the feather race. Who would have thought that this feather race person would actually sneak into their Green On race? This was a great humiliation. Damn it, Qin Chi and I cannot live under the same sky. We must kill this monster of the feather race, even if we die 1,000 times. We can't let him escape. The feather race should be killed. He must die. Countless azure monkeys were eager to try, but they couldn't get close to Qin Chi. Once they got close to the sea of lava, they would be roasted into dried corpses or even turned into ashes. This was not a baseless rumor. It was not just Yirodi. All the Green On race members were filled with regret and hatred. How they wished they could bring Qin Chi to justice and kill him to avenge all the dead Green On race brothers. For their ancestors, they would wash away the hatred of the feather race with blood, so they could rest in peace. The feather race has always been very arrogant and boastful. I just don't know if you can obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel. I have also killed many members of the feather race. Along the way, if not 100,000, I have killed at least 80,000. The people of the feather race are all a bunch of sanctimonious, sinister, and vicious people. Their deaths are not to be regretted. Today, it doesn't matter if you are one more or one less. You can take revenge for the green on race. Jiang Qin said faintly. Of course, he did not have a good impression of the Yu family. This fellow was scheming. If it wasn't for the fact that he knew the secret of the ancient land of beacon smoke, Jiang Qin would have fought him to the death. But now it seemed that he had found the treasure, so Jiang Qin did not want to keep him around. So many members of the Green On tribe had died because of him. In this battle, they had already lost many of their core forces. The Green On tribe was extremely furious. This was an evil tribe that had forced their Green On tribe to the brink of despair in ancient times. They had never been fond of them. Just you. Ha ha ha, are you worthy? You think I can't get the inextinguishable golden wheel, but can you? You can't even get close to the sea of magma. If you do, your soul will scatter. Do you think you are me? Do you think you have the 9 elemental ice soul? Qin Chi scoffed at Jiang Qin. Without the 9 elemental ice soul, no one would be able to get close to this place, not even cosmic cloud experts. The magma here was terrifying. It was the true magma from the Earth's core. It was different from ordinary magma. This type of magma could melt anything. The magma from the Earth's core was comparable to the divine flame of the heavens and earth. Qin Chi had to spend a lot of effort to avoid this divine flame. Now that he had the 9 elemental ice soul, he no longer felt any pressure. Although it was not as easy as walking on flat ground, it was still relatively easy. As long as he fought steadily, he would definitely be able to obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel. I don't, but if I want to seize this inextinguishable golden wheel, perhaps no one can be faster than me. Jiang Qin smiled. You're just bragging. Watch how I kill you after I obtain the inextinguishable golden wheel. Arrogant and conceited fellows, all of you must die. Qin Chi was still so proud and confident, but Jiang Qin didn't seem to be worried that the inextinguishable golden wheel would be snatched away by Qin Chi. What do we do now? He is about to get the inextinguishable golden wheel. Di Luo and the others were getting impatient. However, they couldn't withstand such terrifying lava. If they continued to advance, they would really be courting death. No rush. Jiang Qin said calmly. Yi Luodi was also very nervous. However, it seemed that Jiang Qin's ancestor was sitting there calmly. He wasn't worried at all. Big brother Jiang Qin, you're really calm. Chen Lu was nervous. However, as long as Jiang Qin didn't move, she firmly believed that big brother Jiang Qin would be able to defeat Qin Chi. Ha ha ha, the inextinguishable golden wheel is right in front of me. Who can stop me? Qin Chi laughed heartily and advanced rapidly. Seeing that the inextinguishable golden wheel was within his reach, his heart was pounding. Just 20 meters and he would get the inextinguishable golden wheel. A peerless treasure was right in front of him. Who wouldn't be excited? This inextinguishable golden wheel was already in his pocket. It was within his reach. All the members of the green light race had their hearts in their throats. At this time, Jiang Qin finally moved. His footsteps were light and steady as he walked towards the sea of lava. Big brother Jiang Qin. Ancestor Jiang Qin. No, almost no one dared to imagine that Jiang Qin would walk towards the sea of lava as though he was walking on flat ground. At this time, the lava beneath his feet actually retreated. A path of fire was born, and Jiang Qin walked on it calmly. This is impossible. Fuck. How is this possible? Ancestor Jiang Qin is too awesome. The members of the green light race did not know how to describe it. Their excitement was palpable. Just now, their faces were pale, but now they saw Ancestor Jiang Qin walking freely in the sea of lava. He walked on the waves of fire like a god. At this time, Qin Chi turned back to look at Jiang Qin. His face was green. How could this happen? Qin Chi didn't expect Jiang Qin to have such a heaven-defying strength. He was able to move freely in the magma of the Earth's core. Moreover, his speed was extremely fast, and he wasn't affected by the magma at all. Wasn't this a matter of time? Although he was only 20 meters away from the indestructible golden wool, Jiang Qin had already rushed over as he spoke. That carefree manner, like the wind and lightning, hurt Qin Chi greatly. He looked at the 9-elemental ice soul in his hand. It was not fragrant at all. But if he gave up on the 9-elemental ice soul in his hand, he would be finished. The lava would devour him in less than 10 breaths of time. The indestructible golden wheel is mine. Jiang Qin walked past Qin Chi calmly. Qin Chi's face was pale, and he roared in anger. His heart was filled with unwillingness. No! Qin Chi's eyes were wide open, but Jiang Qin was already in front of him. He was about to explode from anger. Something that was so close to him had been snatched away by someone else. Moreover, it was the person he hated the most. His cooked duck had flown away. How pitiful. No. A man should be able to accept and let go. Chapter 5199. Recalling that this person had fought with Senior Longfooter to the death, Jiang Qin understood. Experts of that level could no longer be measured with common sense. Although the heavenly dragon sword was very strong, it was still unable to reach the peak. He had to rely on his limitless sword to reach the next level. However, this indestructible golden wheel was a real treasure. Such a treasure made even Jiang Qin's heart beat faster. Qin Chi's 2 eyes stared at Jiang Qin. Everything he had done, all the effort he had put in, all in vain. Now, it was all for Jiang Qin's benefit. One could imagine his anger. Qin Chi was so angry that he almost fainted. However, he had to admit that the current Jiang Qin was indeed terrifying. Moreover, Jiang Qin had obtained the indestructible golden wheel, which was a great threat to Qin Chi. Ancestor Jiang Qin is mighty. 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 The cheers were like a tsunami, piercing into Qin Chi's heart. These heavenly blue monkeys were really bastards. Oh! I'm so angry. Qin Chi's eyes were red, his battle intent soared to the sky. Right now, he could not wait to fight with Jiang Qin to the death. The indestructible golden wheel is mine, no one can take it away from me. Yours? Ha, that's not right. Such a treasure naturally belongs to the virtuous. It's a pity that you're so immoral. That's why I got it. If you want my indestructible golden wheel, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Jiang Qin's face was full of arrogance, he said calmly. However, the veins on Qin Chi's face were bulging, he was already on the verge of going berserk. Jiang Qin, give me your life. Qin Chi's heart was about to go crazy. Jiang Qin had taken away his inextinguishable golden wheel. He had planned this for a long time and had put in a lot of effort to get it, but in the end, it was taken away by Jiang Qin. One could imagine the contrast between the two. No ordinary people could understand it. Qin Chi gripped the long spear in his hand as he walked on the waves, closing in on Jiang Qin. However, his pace was extremely slow. After all, his 9-elemental ice soul still needed to be continuously instilled with Genesis Chi in order to ensure his safety. In this sea of magma, victory was not yet in his grasp. However, his anger was too great. he couldn't control his emotions. Even if he had to die, he would kill Jiang Qin. Even if Qin Chi died, he would drag Jiang Qin down with him. The long spear was like a dragon, shaking the wind and clouds. The spear light pierced through the heavens and earth, attacking Jiang Qin from all directions. Everyone's expression was incomparably solemn and dignified. Jiang Qin did not show any mercy. He raised his sword and the sword light and the spear light intertwined. There was no turning back, both of them were charging forward, fighting to the death. At this moment, Jiang Qin finally revealed his true power. The members of the green light race were extremely excited. They didn't expect that even ancestor Jiang Qin, who was a level 9-star state, could hold his own against Qin Chi, who was a half-step nebula state. Moreover, he seemed very stable. Ancestor Jiang Qin is amazing. Ancestor Jiang Qin, you are our idol. Di Luo and the others were extremely excited. Jiang Qin and Qin Chi were fighting intensely. They kept cheering for Jiang Qin. The strength of the two of them seemed to be on par with each other. For a moment, no one could do anything to the other. Qin Chi was also extremely puzzled. He did not expect this fellow to have such a powerful technique. Not only was he able to ignore the terrifying heat of the magma ocean, he was even able to exchange blows with him. At this moment, it was obvious that he had fallen into a disadvantage. The difference between their power was huge. Although it was only one level, a half-step nebula state could easily kill a level 9-star state. This was enough to tell how big the difference was. The more Qin Chi fought, the more anxious he became. If this continued, he would fall into a passive position. After all, he needed to support the energy of the 9-origin ice soul, and he also needed to fight Jiang Qin, which would consume a lot of his energy. A battle like this was unfair to him. Qin Chi had been attacking Jiang Qin for a long time, but he still couldn't get the inextinguishable golden wheel. Not only did he not get the inextinguishable golden wheel, his morale had also been suppressed by Jiang Qin. Now, in the eyes of the azure monkeys, he had become a stray dog. It would be extremely difficult for Qin Chi to change the outcome of the battle. Jiang Qin was walking in the sea of magma as if he was walking on flat ground. This was something that Qin Chi couldn't compare to. If he continued to fight, he would only sink deeper into the quagmire and be exhausted to death by Jiang Qin. No, he couldn't just sit and wait for death. Qin Chi realized that he couldn't keep fighting against Jiang Qin, so he could only retreat. After all, he wasn't an idiot. He knew how to take a roundabout route to save his country. At this moment, Qin Chi kept retreating. Eventually, he retreated to the shore. What everyone didn't expect was that Qin Chi suddenly turned around and aimed at the green light race. The green light race didn't expect this either. They didn't expect that Qin Chi, who was originally with Jiang Qin, would eventually attack them. Shifting the blame. Qin Chi knew that if the battle between him and Jiang Qin continued, it would only get more and more intense. Therefore, he simply pointed his spearhead towards the rear and killed his way into the crowd of the Green On clan. Like a wolf diving into a flock of sheep, everyone could only watch helplessly. Run! Yi Rodi shouted angrily. All the members of the Green Light tribe began to retreat. Against Qin Chi's attack, let alone his people, even Yi Rodi did not dare say that he could withstand it 100% of the time. At this time, Qin Chi was enraged. He couldn't care less. Right now, he just wanted to kill indiscriminately. Killing the Green Light race members would relieve his anger. If he couldn't kill them, he could also divert Jiang Qin's attack. His goal would be achieved. As long as he could escape from the magma sea, he wouldn't be as passive as before. You're courting death. Jiang Qin frowned. Qin Chi's method was undoubtedly to escape from the battle and change the battlefield. This way, he could avoid Jiang Chen's attack and escape from the magma sea. But this time, Jiang Chen wouldn't give him any chance. Today will be the day of your defeat. Prepare to die. Jiang Chen descended from the sky, joining forces with the experts of the green light race to fight Qin Chi. The battle became more and more intense. Against Jiang Chen and the green light race members, Qin Chi wasn't flustered. Only in the magma sea would he be shaken, afraid that he would fall into the magma and be consigned to eternal damnation. Let's see if you have the ability. Let's see if you have the ability to do that. You're not qualified to kill me. Ha 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 ha, today, no one can make me admit defeat. Jiang Chen, although you've obtained the indestructible golden wheel, I won't let you succeed. Bring it on, don't make me feel like you're a sissy. Chapter 5200. 12 wings appeared on Qin Chi's back. Qin Chi's speed was unparalleled, and his bloodline seemed to be at the pinnacle of the feather race. No one dared to look directly at such battle power. The experts of the feather race are indeed extraordinary. But today, not even the heavens can save you. Jiang Chen coldly snorted, unsheathing his sword as he prepared to battle the firmament. Come at me. Qin Chi's eyes blazed. His battle with Jiang Chen grew more and more intense. Although the experts of the Green On clan had also joined in, Qin Chi was still very calm. Jiang Chen could give him a lot of pressure, but among the Green On clan, the only one who could truly threaten him was Yi Rodi. If it was a one-on-one battle, he would not give Yi Rodi any attention. Hence, in his view, the Green On clan was just a motley crew. Even if they joined forces and appeared in front of him, they could not pose any threat to him. The long spear was still as domineering as ever. Qin Chi's attack was not the slightest bit weaker than Jiang Chen's. The two exchanged blows, collided, and fought to their heart's content. You do have some skill. Jiang Chen smiled as he exchanged blows with Qin Chi. The limitless sword was oppressive, and a life-and-death battle began. 32 swords. The void was filled with the deafening collision of sword chi and spear light. The experts of the Green On clan gasped in amazement. Ancestor Jiang Chen had shown them what a true expert was. Such an unparalleled talent was what they should worship the most. Is this all you've got? Qin Chi sneered. Divine Spear of Destiny, who else but me can do it? 9 spear lights descended from the sky, piercing through like a hot knife through butter, heading straight for Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen held his blade horizontally, his dragon body blocking in front of him fearlessly. His physical body was already indestructible, and endless Genesis Chi rose endlessly. Jiang Chen did not look sideways. His hand seals changed, and the true dragon palm swept across the universe. Break! Qin Chi was still fearless. Facing the fierce battle, he swept out with his spear, destroying tens of thousands of caddies. At this moment, Jiang Chen's expression became more and more solemn. At this moment, his boundless sword seemed to have undergone a significant change, because he felt that the boundless sword could still be improved and become stronger. Although Jiang Chen couldn't say that the limitless sword was invincible, this time, with the improvement of the 32 sword, Jiang Chen would be able to fight with ease. No one would be able to stop his slash. The transformation of the limitless sword was ever-changing. In other words, a sword had countless forms. Once the form of the sword reached its peak, the limitless sword would be able to evolve and reach a more powerful realm. Jiang Chen was incomparably excited. The battle was getting more and more vivid. The limitless sword had already reached the pinnacle of what Jiang Chen could display. His infinite transformations were on full display at this moment. 32 swords was far from the end. I have a sword that can illuminate the mountains, rivers, sun, and moon. 33 swords. Jiang Chen did not look sideways. With a sweep of his sword, the swords outside the 33 skies descended from the sky. Outside the 33 skies, the 33 sword chis gathered together. They seemed to be scattered, but they were unparalleled in the world as they merged into one. At this moment, Jiangchen felt that his sword chis seemed to have reached a level that he couldn't believe. 33 swords. Within the universe, no sword could break the 33 skies. Gather like a ball of fire, scatter like a sky full of stars. Within Jiang Chen's body, there was boundless sword will surging. He was overjoyed. This time, he could feel the improvement of the 33 swords. It had completely reached his current strongest combat strength. That kind of all-encompassing, overbearing sword momentum of being the sole ruler of the 33 heavens was unstoppable. 33 swords came from beyond the heavens, pierced through the universe, and annihilated everything. This was the pinnacle of the limitless sword. What a strong sword! Qin Chi staggered a few steps back, and his eyes were filled with seriousness while tempestuous waves had arisen in his heart. This sword chi is too strong. I can't even open my eyes. That's right. Ancestor Jiang Qin is indeed a 1 in a million expert. This sword technique has reached the pinnacle of all things. It's too strong. Everyone was shocked. It was hard to imagine that Jiang Chen's limitless sword had reached such a level where it could break through anything. Moreover, there seemed to be no other sword that was stronger than Jiang Chen in the entire 3 realms. If the two of them were at the same level, Qin Chi would definitely be killed by ancestor Jiang Qin. That was what everyone thought. But it was obvious that it was just a if. Even so, ancestor Jiang Chen's 33 swords stole the fortune of the heavens and earth. It had completely transcended the mortal world. 33 skies was a limit. It was an existence that no one dared to imagine. It surpassed the 33 skies and became the number 1 sword in the universe. This was the 33 swords. The 33 sword chis were like a prison that locked onto Qin Chi. Qin Chi had nowhere to run and could only retreat. His face was solemn and filled with disbelief. He probably wouldn't be able to block this sword. Qin Chi thought unwillingly. But even if the sky fell down, he still had to live. He couldn't possibly kowtow to Jiang Chen and admit his guilt, could he? Even if he did, Jiang Chen might not give him face. Therefore, even if he died, he would fight to the death. Spear forest, blood rain, dusk of the gods. Qin Chi spat out a mouthful of blood on his long spear. The blood-red spear light stirred the starry sky. It was matchless. The terrifying blood-red spear light met Jiang Chen's 33 swords. At this moment, the people of the Green Light clan held their breath. It seemed that Qin Chi's technique was also shocking. Moreover, his speed was extremely fast. The spear light and the sword light intertwined. In the final charge, who would win? Everyone was so shocked that their faces turned pale. The sword chi was unparalleled, sweeping everything in its path. At this moment, Qin Chi's blood screen was completely destroyed. His body was also flung away like a kite with a broken string. His entire body was trembling uncontrollably. Qin Chi knelt on the ground with one knee. His face was deathly pale. The web between his thumb and forefinger had split open. He couldn't even hold his spear firmly. Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword tightly. At this moment, even the heavenly dragon sword was constantly buzzing. The fusion of the limitless sword and the 33 swords could be said to be earth-shattering and unstoppable. The 33 swords had allowed Jiang Chen's strength to improve by leaps and bounds. This time, it was the limitless sword that defeated Qin Chi with one sword. Seeing that Qin Chi had fallen in front of him like a stray dog, Jiang Chen's mouth finally curved into a smile. Chapter 5201. Kill him. We can't let him continue harming the world and harming more people. That's right. This person has committed all sorts of evil and schemes. He has harmed all of our brothers from the Green On tribe. We cannot live under the same sky as him. If we don't get our revenge, we are not human. Ancestor Jiang Qin, please give us justice. Kill this fiend and let the Green On tribe enjoy eternal peace. Kill. 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 Qin Chi's facial expression became extremely ugly. At this moment, he was defeated by Jiang Chen's sword. He was in a pretty bad situation. He had never expected this to happen. This guy was at the 9th level of the star level, but he had such shocking methods and power. Who could stand this? Qin Chi's situation could not be said to be optimistic, having returned in defeat and being condemned by thousands of people. Qin Chi gritted his teeth and glared at Jiang Qin. He didn't seem to be afraid at all. Instead, he was full of unwillingness. How much more do you know about the secrets here? Jiang Qin asked calmly, his gaze like an arrow pointed at Qin Chi. Their eyes met. Qin Chi sneered and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Even though he had been defeated, he still held his head high. The feather race never goes back on our words. Do you think I will tell you? If you have the ability, then kill me. You will never know the secret behind this. An indestructible golden wool isn't enough for me to search the ancient beacon smoke grounds at all costs. Qin Chi's eyes were dark. Jiang Qin knew that this guy wasn't talking nonsense. The indestructible golden wool was indeed very powerful, but it didn't mean that a powerful feather race expert would risk his life to search for it. He must have an even greater plot, an even greater secret. Moreover, this secret was only known to him. Even for Yerodi, they did not know exactly what the secret was. Don't listen to his lies. Ancestor Jiang Qin, kill this fiend. Don't let him escape. Di Luo said through gritted teeth. That's right, I implore Ancestor Jiang Qin to kill this fiend. At this time, Jiang Qin frowned. He had to kill this Qin Chi, but now wasn't the right time. At least, he had to make him spill out the real secret first. Jiang Qin didn't know what was going on. Kill me. Why don't you kill me? Ha ha ha, Jiang Qin, are you afraid? You don't dare. You must be worried that you won't get the treasure, right? Qin Chi sneered. For the sake of treasures, you don't even care about the lives of the Green On tribe. They didn't even care about their blood feud. You even dared to call yourself the ancestor of the Green On tribe. Don't you feel guilty? For the sake of treasures, you're willing to disregard your enemies and your enemies. TSK TSK TSK, you've really opened my eyes. Qin Chi's words caused many of the Azure monkeys to become agitated. They were even dissatisfied. Jiang Chen's actions made them feel extremely awkward. It seemed like Ancestor Jiang Qin didn't care about their lives at all. Was such an ancestor really worthy of their respect? Don't spout nonsense. Don't divide us. Ancestor Jiang Qin has done so much for our Green On tribe. How can you make up stories like this? Yerodi gritted his teeth. This fellow was obviously trying to divide them. He wanted to cause internal strife and have them kill each other. Don't kill me. Aren't you still worried that you won't get the treasure? Jiang Qin, you've really disappointed me. You've disappointed the Green On tribe too. Sigh. You're just a coward. Qin Chi's eyes narrowed as his lips curled into a mocking smile. At this time, the members of the Green On tribe were itching to give it a go. If you want to die, I can grant you death anytime. Whether or not I want the treasure has nothing to do with you. I just want to follow the path of my master. As for the treasure, I don't care about it at all. Jiang Qin said coldly. You really know how to speak such pompous words. In your eyes, the members of the Green On tribe are worthless. So many of them have died. What does that have to do with you? That's why you don't dare to kill me. You're afraid that you'll never get the secret of the treasure. You're a complete hypocrite. What else is there to say? Previously, when so many members of the Green On tribe were killed by the Scorpion King, weren't you also indifferent? In the end, you only acted to trap me. You've said so much just to cover up your heartlessness. In your eyes, there's only the treasure. You don't care about the life and death of the Green On tribe. We're about the same. What right do you have to criticize me? I didn't kill them either. They were killed by the Scorpion King. You don't have any pity for the trash of the Green On tribe either. These pieces of trash aren't even worthy of your words. You're a sanctimonious fella. You really make me feel disgusted. Kill me, and you can avenge them. Why not? Qin Shi stared at Jiang Qin with a wide smile. At this time, everyone was even more enraged. It had to be said that he didn't hold back his anger at all. He sowed dissension, causing all the members of the Green On tribe to waver. They wanted to kill him, but Jiang Qin didn't. The two sides were in a stalemate, turning into two different beliefs. Looks like in his eyes, we're just lowly trash. He doesn't even care about us. He. Yeah. He's in a high position. When has he ever cared about our lives? So it's all just our wishful thinking. Sigh, it's hard to know what's in a man's heart. There's an old saying that goes, it's hard to draw a dragon or a tiger, but it's hard to draw a bone. You may know a man's face, but you don't know his heart. Only when it's time to make a decision did you realize that the lives of the Green On tribe aren't even worth mentioning in his eyes. Looks like we can only rely on ourselves. No matter how much we say, it's useless. Who asked us to be so incompetent? Everyone snickered, full of self-mockery. At this time, Jiang Chen's indifference had already filled their hearts with dissatisfaction. Even Yi Rodi was somewhat silent. They hated Qin Shi to the bone. Qin Shi had caused so many people of the Green On race to die here, and had made them run around in circles. Now that they had the chance, they didn't make a move. Who could remain indifferent? Indeed, ancestor Jiang Qin had only acted against the Scorpion King at the last moment. Although he had killed the Scorpion King, the dead bodies of their comrades were already strewn all over the ground. Ancestor Jiang Qin, this. Yi Rodi said in a low voice. Qin Shi can't be killed for now. Jiang Qin narrowed his eyes. In order to find the traces of his master, he couldn't act rashly at this time. This Qin Shi deserved to be killed. He wanted to kill him, but now was not the time. Chapter 5202. He couldn't be killed. Why couldn't he be killed? Everyone's faces were gloomy. Ancestor Jiang Qin had once again touched their cake. Now they only had one goal, and that was to kill Qin Shi and avenge their brothers and sisters of the Green On clan. This enmity was absolutely irreconcilable. Not only had Qin Shi lied to them, but he had also sent them all to hell. That was why they hated Qin Shi so much. And Jiang Qin still wanted to protect Qin Shi at a time like this. Wasn't this a joke? Wasn't this the same as going against the entire Green Brilliance race? This was intolerable. Although they had no enmity with Jiang Qin, and Jiang Qin had saved them at a critical moment, the truth was that they only wanted Qin Shi dead. However, the truth was that they only wanted Qin Shi dead. What Jiang Qin did at this moment undoubtedly made them feel humiliated. In front of Jiang Qin, the lives of their comrades weren't worth mentioning. Their deaths weren't worth regretting. How could they stand this? In an instant, Jiang Qin became the target of everyone's criticism. Going against everyone else, he was naturally nailed to the pillar of shame. However, Jiang Qin frowned and did not care. He had no such intentions. It was all Qin Chi's provocation. Even though he knew it was a provocation, the Green On clan hated him deeply when they saw Qin Chi's arrogant side. They could not stand it anymore. Kill Qin Chi! Kill Qin Chi! Thunderous voices rang out in everyone's ears. Jiang Chen naturally could not remain unmoved. These Green On clan members were not in the wrong. They had just been incited by others. Come on, kill me. Do it. Don't just talk. Whoever can kill me, I'll give it to you. Ha ha ha. Qin Chi was still ridiculing Jiang Chen from the side. This situation made Jiang Chen even more depressed. This fella obviously wanted to turn the Green On clan and him upside down before he was willing to let it go. Noisy. Since you are so eager to die, I'll chop off your arms and legs first. Jiang Chen's face was gloomy. With the heavenly dragon sword in his hand, he walked towards Qin Chi. Qin Chi's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked into Jiang Chen's eyes. The sinister smile on his face was evident on his face. I'm afraid you don't have the guts or the ability. Qin Chi calmly said. Slowly, he struggled to stand up. However, it could be said that his strength had suffered a great blow and was severely damaged. Then you can try. If you don't tell me the secret, I might really have to follow the will of the people and kill you here. Jiang Chen said. He only had one purpose, to force Qin Chi to tell him the secret. However, he certainly wouldn't give in so easily. This was the only thing that could guarantee his safety. If he told Jiang Chen the secret, he might really be abandoned by Jiang Chen. At that time, the people of the Green On family would probably chop him to death with a blade each. Jiang Chen didn't expect that Jiang Chen would give up on him. Let them go. I'll tell you. Moreover, you have to promise to let me go and not to kill me. Qin Chi smiled. Your condition sounds acceptable. However, do you think that you have the capital to negotiate with me? Jiang Chen sneered and snorted. However, at this moment, he already had no way out. That depends on whether you give me the chance or not. If you give me the chance, I will definitely satisfy you. As for those people, when have I ever cared? Ha ha ha, when have you ever cared? Qin Chi laughed and said, completely disregarding the Green On clan. Damn it. This Qin Chi is too arrogant. That's right. Ancestor Jiang Chen still hasn't acted. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Shouts rose and fell. At this moment, Jiang Chen was like an arrow on the bowstring. He stared lang at Qin Chi. Qin Chi closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Let me think about it. Think about it. Qin Fan frowned. What kind of trick was this guy playing? Jiang Chen did not make a move. At this moment, the Green On clan members were getting more and more angry and anxious. Kill him quickly and avenge their clansmen. That was the most important thing. It's here. It's finally here. Qin Chi mumbled. Yi Rodi froze. What's here? Ha ha ha, Crimson, what are you waiting for? Qin Chi's eyes suddenly opened, his will to fight soaring. At this moment, following Qin Chi's shout, a slender figure flapped his wings and flew up, landing in front of everyone. It was a man with golden hair and green eyes. He also had 12 wings on his back. He was very domineering and terrifying. Crimson's appearance stunned the onlookers who were trying to identify him. Even Jiang Chen was no exception. The pressure on him was immense. This person was stronger than Qin Chi, not weaker. Jiang Chen's heart trembled. He suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the other party. It turned out that this guy had been stalling for time. He was waiting for his companions. I didn't expect that you would end up so badly. Qin Chi, I really didn't expect it. Your methods are getting worse and worse. Crimson looked at Qin-Chi with a teasing smile. Qin-Chi snorted coldly, feeling extremely depressed. Do you think that you can escape just because you met him? This guy is more ridiculous than you think. Qin-Chi's evaluation of Jiang Qin was very high. Although he hadn't lost to the Green On clan. He had lost to that bastard, Jiang Qin. He had been waiting for his reinforcements. He had to stall for time. Otherwise, his situation would be very difficult. He might even die. Now that Crimson had arrived, he could finally breathe a sigh of relief. There's no need to explain. I know you've worked hard, okay? Then let's join forces this time. We will definitely bring certain people to justice. Do you think you can live after offending the feather race? What wishful thinking, Crimson said disdainfully. He didn't care about Jiang Qin at all. He glared at him coldly, his desire to fight blazing. It's all Jiang Qin's fault. If it weren't for him, how could Qin-Chi have waited for reinforcements? This guy really knows how to drag things out. That's right. We should have killed Qin-Chi earlier to avoid future trouble. Why did we have so many problems? How unlucky. Now that their reinforcements have arrived, we should be the ones begging for mercy. The people of the Green On race criticized them again, pushing the blame onto Jiang Qin. It was all because of Jiang Qin that they had lost the best opportunity to kill Qin-Chi in this battle. Both sides were evenly matched. In fact, they were far inferior. Jiang Qin's good days were coming to an end. Chapter 5203. Now that danger was upon them again, the feather race was here personally. 2 half-step cosmic cloud states were holding the fort. The green light race felt an invisible pressure. These 2 half-step cosmic cloud states weren't something they could imagine. They already hated Qin-Chi to the bone, but Jiang Qin didn't kill him no matter what. This made them extremely annoyed. However, Jiang Qin was their savior. At this moment, they could only clench their teeth in anger. Jiang Qin's success and Jiang Qin's failure. Jiang Qin frowned. It seemed troublesome indeed, but he had his reasons for not killing Qin-Chi. The green light race was completely blinded by hatred. In their eyes, there was only revenge. They didn't care about anything else. The secret of the beacon smoke ancient land, Senior Longfoot's footprints, and their curse were all closely connected. If Qin-Chi died, they wouldn't be able to move an inch. Revenge was their top priority, but it didn't mean they had to be driven by hatred. Yi Luodi's expression was solemn and nervous. The appearance of Christian had caused the Green On clan to feel suffocated. They had no way to retreat. Their only hope now lay on the shoulders of ancestor Jiang Qin. Needless to say, Qin-Chi had been stalling for time and waiting for his comrades. Now that Christian appeared and the two of them combined perfectly, Jiang Qin was indeed a bit troublesome. From the beginning, Qin-Chi was fearless because he had a secret with him. Even if Jiang Qin was angry at him, he wouldn't be able to kill him. As long as the reinforcements arrived, it would be time for him to show his strength. The feather race never acts alone. Kid, this day next year will be the day you die. Qin-Chi stood proudly and said with disdain in his eyes. Although Jiang Qin had defeated him, no one knew who would have the last laugh until the very last moment. The winner takes all. Only those who survived could write history. I really don't know what kind of attitude you'll have when you've spent so much effort to do all this, but in the end, it's all for naught. Jiang Qin said with a smile. Despite facing a powerful enemy, Jiang Qin was still as calm as a mountain. Even Clinston was shocked. This kid had some courage. Although Qin-Chi was injured, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. With two half-step cosmic cloud states joining hands, they would have no way out. You seem to be a little too concerned. I think you should be more worried about your own situation. Otherwise, if you die too miserably, how can the people of the Green On clan regard you as their ancestor? I'm very curious. How would they feel if I beat you into a pig head? Wahahaha. Qin Shi laughed wildly and said in an arrogant manner. In his eyes, Jiang Chen was already his prey, there was no place for him to hide. That's enough, old Qin. Let's hurry up and make our move. We don't want anything to happen if we delay. This guy can defeat you, so he's not easy to deal with. It's better to end this quickly. I don't like to drag things out. Clinton furrowed his brows and said in a low voice. Sure, I'll kill you first to end this worry. Jiang Chen, prepare to die. Qin Shi took the lead and fought fiercely. He didn't care about his previous embarrassing state at all. With Kristen holding the line, killing Jiang Chen would be a piece of cake for the two of them. Good. No matter how many feather race people come, Jiang Chen will kill them all. If one comes, I'll kill one. If two comes, I'll kill a pair. Jiang Chen's eyes were as sharp as swords. He jumped up, and the three clashed. Sigh, why is Ancestor Jiang Chen doing this? Isn't he looking for trouble for himself? If he took care of Qin Shi earlier, this wouldn't have happened. That's right. But perhaps Ancestor Jiang Chen has his own difficulties. I think Ancestor Jiang Chen is going to be in danger in this battle. He asked for it. He thought he could run amok in the world. Now, he finally knows that there is always someone better than him, right? Humph. Such people don't deserve sympathy. I think you are the one who doesn't deserve our sympathy. After all, Ancestor Jiang Chen has saved us. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid we would have been dead by now. How can you be so ungrateful? He did save us, but it's not certain who will win this time. Won't we still die? What's the difference between that and not saving us? Everyone had their own opinions. The people of the Green Dawn race were looking forward to it. However, very few of them believed that Jiang Chen could turn the tide. After all, those were two half-step cosmic cloud states. No matter how heaven-defying your power is, you might be able to defeat one, but what about two? Do you think Goddess Luck will always be on your side? What a joke. Your end is coming. Crimson descended from the sky with the divine hammer in his hand. He was like an overlord of the heavens, arrogant and domineering. The pressure that the divine hammer gave off made people's scalps go numb. That kind of might was hard to resist. This is the 8-God hammer. It's your fortune to die to it. My God hammer has killed more than 10 cosmic cloud states. Lin Sun stood proudly in the sky. His eyes were burning with fire. Accept your death. Crimson was the first to attack. The heavy hammer in his hand smashed down, and it was as if 1,000 caddies were pressing down. Rumble. With a loud bang, the sky changed color. The hammer of the 8 gods turned from a small hammer to a huge hammer that fell from the sky. They had never seen or heard of such a divine weapon before. All the members of the Green Light clan turned pale with fright and instinctively retreated. Jiang Chen frowned and his expression turned solemn. He never thought that this fella had some skills. The 8-God hammer was really not simple. Without hesitation, Jiang Chen casted out the dragon transformation and the ancient soaring dragon technique, pushing his strength to the limit. He struck out a palm, like a thunderbolt from the clear sky, soaring up to the sky and meeting the terrifying divine hammer in an instant. A deafening bang was heard. Dust and magma were splashed everywhere. Jiang Chen roared and looked up at the sky. He forcefully stopped the 8-God hammer with his palm. The force of 10,000 caddies was like taking a stroll in the park in his hands. Stop it. Jiang Chen stopped the hammer with one hand. It was like he was holding a cauldron with one hand. It was domineering. In an instant, everyone was shocked. When his lover heard this, even Yi Rodi and the other members of the Green On tribe were astonished and in disbelief. This power was too terrifying. He used the power of one hand to stop a divine artifact. Jiang Chen was unperturbed by the pressure of Mount Tai. Chapter 5204. Jiang Chen stood proudly between heaven and earth, fearless. His eyes were as sharp as blades, filled with murderous intent. Activate! Jiang Chen roared. With stellar transposition, he pushed the divine artifact up. In an instant, a series of sighs rang out. Crimson gripped the divine hammer in his hand. He was extremely furious, and his eyes were filled with anger. Even his own face had been damaged at this moment. This guy really had some tricks up his sleeve. He was afraid that something might happen, and he was determined to kill him. Qin Chi and Clinton glanced at each other and quickly made their moves. Two figures, one in front and one behind, chased after Jiang Chen and crushed down. They were like two rays of light that came from beyond the heavens, approaching Jiang Chen. The entire magma ground became icy cold. The surrounding temperature plummeted. The people of the Green On race sighed deeply. They focused and didn't dare to be careless. Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword and slashed down. His chi was like a tiger that could devour 10,000 li. He was fearless even though he was fighting two enemies at the same time. The ancient soaring dragon technique had almost raised his strength to the half-step cosmic cloud realm. Although there was still a gap, it wasn't that big of a difference. At this moment, Jiang Chen finally started a hearty battle. The two experts of the Yu family, a 12-winged expert, launched their final attack at this moment. Jiang Chen had taken away the inextinguishable golden will that Qin Chi had been longing for. At this moment, they were naturally infuriated and refused to let this matter go. In their eyes, no matter if it was Jiang Chen or the people of the Green On family, their deaths were not to be regretted. There was no doubt that they would kill Jiang Chen and take the golden wheel. Where the spear pointed, Qin Chi took the lead. He had lost to Jiang Chen before, but this time, he had Clinton, his good brother, to help him. He would definitely be able to get back at Jiang Chen. Spear patterns shot out in all directions like dazzling fireworks. However, only Jiang Chen knew how terrifying these spear patterns were. Being hit by them would result in death, being hit by them would result in injuries. The limitless sword allowed him to advance by retreating, advancing step by step, advancing and retreating. Jiang Chen was in a completely invincible position. Even if he were to face the pursuit of the two, he would be able to take a leisurely stroll in the park and deal with them calmly. Wind God's hammer, heavenly stem wind. Crimson's brows were like swords. He gripped the divine hammer in his hand and swung it down. Violent winds rose and danced chaotically in the air, stirring up the surrounding lava into a tornado. The members of the Green On race were so frightened that they shivered. Die! The hammer of the wind god swept up a gale that tore and tore, roaring in the air, causing people to tremble in fear. Jiang Chen sneered. Without hesitation, he stood up with his sword and faced the stormy hammer calmly. Eternal immortal wind. As the fierce wind around Jiang Chen rose, the two wind blade-like storms collided with each other and dispersed with a loud bang. Both of them retreated and fought evenly. The blood in Jiang Chen's body boiled, and he felt extremely satisfied. This Crimson really did have some skill. Interesting, very interesting. Ha ha ha. Christian raised the divine hammer in his hand once again. He was enraged, and his strength was enough to shake the heavens. Countless hammer shadows filled the sky, clashing with Jiang Chen's limitless sword. The long spear pointed forward, and the heavy hammer pressed down. The two of them fought Jiang Chen, one in front and one in the back. Jiang Chen was also very excited. This kind of battle was too exciting. It had been a long time since he had met such an evenly matched opponent. Most importantly, his 33 sword could finally be put to good use. Facing two formidable opponents, he swung his sword in an incomparably overbearing and domineering manner. The improvement of the limitless sword, the 33 sword swept across the sky and suppressed the 33 heavens. That kind of supreme dominance was the essence of the limitless sword. The realm of the 33 swords had reached the state of no desire, no self and no sky. If they were at the same power level, Jiang Chen could easily suppress these two half-step cosmic cloud states. But now, it wasn't that easy. Although they weren't real cosmic cloud states, the difference between the star state and the cosmic cloud state was worlds apart. Even though Jiang Chen used his means and power to barely close the distance between the three, ordinary people would have lost already. Jiang Chen fought fiercely. His sword moved with his heart. The domineering sword's shadows didn't lose to the two's attacks at all. Lightning God's hammer, absolute lightning. The divine hammer in Crimson's hands moved once again. Streaks of shocking lightning interweaved continuously within the divine hammer. This frightening scene made everyone shudder in fear. This lightning is too terrifying. I feel that if I were to be hit by this hammer, I would definitely die without a burial place. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that I would be annihilated. It seems that Ancestor Jiang Chen is really going to lose this time. Yeah, such powerful means, and they're both half-step cosmic cloud states. Even if his means are heaven-defying, he would still lose his wings here. Can't you guys hope for Ancestor Jiang Chen's good fortune? Both sides are evenly matched now. Why would he lose his wings here? I think those two guys are the ones who are going to lose their wings here. Humph. This kind of person only has himself to blame. If he had killed Qin Chi earlier, then this wouldn't have happened. When they saw these juniors chattering endlessly here, everyone's hearts were in a state of turmoil, difficult to imagine. Nonsense. All of you, shut up. A bunch of ignorant fools. Ancestor Jiang Chen naturally has his own plans for doing this. Eventually, Yi Luodi yelled and told everyone to be careful with their words. Although Jiang Chen's situation wasn't very clear, he wasn't in a passive position either. Hence, the two of them might not be able to suppress Ancestor Jiang Chen. Everything was still unknown. Thunder and lightning covered the earth, shattering the void. Streaks of lightning pierced through heaven and earth, lingering around the divine hammer. That kind of terrifying aura was breathtaking, causing people to not dare to speak loudly. The beautiful light struck the ground, shaking the mountains and turning the rocks to dust. 9 bolts of lightning flashed across the sky, bringing with them the energy to destroy the heavens and the earth. They fell from the sky towards Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen waved his hand and punched heavily. Even Chen Lu was silent. Brother Jiang Chen will be fine, right? Even though he had faced many powerful experts in the past, none of them had been as powerful as these two. Even back when he had single-handedly protected Mount Yixin, he hadn't been as powerful as these two. Even she couldn't keep her cool. But when she saw Big Brother Jiang Chen's calm and unruffled expression, she felt that Big Brother Jiang Chen would be fine. From the looks of it, your methods are only so-so. Jiang Chen looked on coldly from the sidelines, disdainful. Then, have a taste of my hammer. Chapter 5205. As the hammer fell, lightning bolts descended from the sky, completely locking onto Jiang Chen. Everyone gasped. Jiang Chen had nowhere to retreat or hide. I wish to merge with lightning. Lightning, come. Jiang Chen's voice was like a bell, rumbling like thunder. In an instant, the lightning dragons on his body swirled. 5 dragons coiled around his body, lightning crisscrossing everywhere. Sky-severing drought lightning. Dawn sky golden lightning. 1,000 flame destruction lightning. This, even Qin Chi was stunned. He didn't expect Jiang Qin to have so many terrifying lightning bolts on his body. 5 lightning dragons soared into the sky, pouncing on Christian. Christian gripped the hammer in his hand and swung it out. One strike was enough to shake the heavens and earth, but the 5 lightning dragons instantly cancelled out his lightning god's hammer. Christian was sent flying, his eyes filled with panic and nervousness. Everyone was shocked and aghast. No one had thought that Jiang Qin would be able to break through Christian's lightning hammer. Moreover, Jiang Chen's 5 lightning dragons flew upwards and devoured the heavens, forcing Christian to retreat and putting him in a difficult position. Fire God's hammer. Heavenly fire ablaze. Christian swung his hammer again at the crucial moment. A single spark of fire swept out, engulfing the 5 lightning dragons. But at this time, Qin Chi shouted. No! He's immune to the heavenly fire. Before Qin Chi could finish speaking, the fire god's hammer had already descended from the sky. But Jiang Chen's eyes were still calm. 5 elemental divine fire, listen to my command. Devour. Jiang Chen commanded the 5 elemental divine fire. In an instant, the 5 elemental divine fire covered the sky, completely extinguishing Christian's flames. On the contrary, the 5 elemental divine fire suppressed Christian so much that he couldn't breathe. His entire body was injured by the 5 elemental divine fire. Qin Chi was also affected, and his expression changed drastically. Not only had the divine hammer failed to suppress Jiang Qin, but it had also almost been swallowed by Jiang Qin. This made Christian extremely angry. Luckily, Qin Chi used his divine spear to force back Jiang Qin. In an instant, the world spun. Christian was shocked. They had completely lost the upper hand. Jiang Qin was fighting 1 against 2, but he was still so calm. The 2 half-step cosmic cloud states were furious. Despicable fellow, this bastard, why is he so abnormal? Even the 2 of us couldn't defeat him. Crimson looked at Qin Chi with a serious face. At this time, both of their eyes became extremely solemn. They couldn't go on like this. If they continued to be suppressed by Jiang Qin, how were they going to fight in the future? The indestructible golden wool wasn't the only treasure in the ancient beacon smoke land. If they were to reveal their strength now, then they would very likely lose the initiative in the upcoming battle. They originally didn't plan to take action unless they had no other choice, but they didn't expect that it would be a matter of life and death right now. A peak stellar level fellow had forced them to such a state. It had to be said that in the past millions of years, no one had ever forced them into such a miserable state. It was truly shocking. How could Qin Chi not want to end the battle quickly? However, Jiang Chen's strength was just too abnormal. Previously, Crimson didn't believe it, but now, he finally understood his pain. Now, Crimson had lost his initial sharpness. Both of them were looking at each other at the same time. It was time to show their true skills. If they still couldn't kill Jiang Qin, they would only feel more and more uncomfortable. Even now, they probably couldn't move an inch. Jiang Qin fought 1 against 2. The 2 masters could only sigh. The people of the Green Mang race became excited again. From the beginning to the end, the only person who truly believed in Jiang Qin was Qin Lu. Even Yi Luodi and Di Luo were hesitating. They didn't dare to believe that Jiang Qin could really turn the tide. 2 half-step cosmic cloud states could almost destroy the foundation of the Green Mang race. Yi Rodi didn't expect that there would be so many experts appearing at the same time in a remote and desolate place like Kuwei Wood Star. Without a doubt, Qin Shi and the others must have come for the treasures, but Jiang Chen might not be the same. He was brought here by Di Luo, so he had always been very secretive. No one knew how strong he was, or when he would be invincible enough to kill all the powerful enemies in front of them. Old Qin, we need to show our true power. Otherwise, people will really think we are easy to bully. Crimson said through clenched teeth. His eyes were filled with ruthlessness and determination. Okay. Qin Shi nodded. They no longer had any other choice. If they continued to remain silent, they would only become stepping stones for others. Therefore, they had to take the initiative to attack. When it was a matter of life and death, there was no need to care so much. I will fight to the end. Attack. Don't be a spearhead that looks good but is useless. Jiang Chen said with a deep voice. His eyes were filled with a sneer. These two fellows weren't easy to deal with. It looked like he couldn't leave this district at all. If not, he might really fail miserably. If it wasn't Jiang Chen, any other half-step nebula experts would have died without a grave. Both of them were the true masters of the feather race. Their power and status couldn't be underestimated. Both of them were elites among the half-step nebula experts. The combination of their swords was extremely terrifying. Moreover, the two heavens had worked together for so many years. Even if they fused their swords together, they would be in perfect harmony without any hindrance. Such opponents were extremely terrifying. Then, you need to use a good move. Otherwise, you will die without a grave. Qin Shi sneered. He joined hands with Crimson and attacked again. The wings on his back continued to grow larger and larger until they reached an unimaginable size. The wings covered the sky and blocked everyone's vision. Qin Shi and Crimson each had 12 wings, and they completely covered the space around them. 24 wings without feathers formation. Shouted Clinton. He flew up into the sky, and from his 12 wings, 12 white bone shadows flew out. They covered the sky. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on them. They couldn't believe it. The bone shadows within the 12 wings were like 12 heaven's cone nails descending from the sky, blocking off the entire area. Chapter 5206. 24 bone silhouettes danced in the sky, stabilizing the universe. In an instant, white feathers covered the sky and earth as they shuttled back and forth between the heavens and earth. Every single feather brought along a terrifying cold light as they shuttled back and forth. The two of them pointed at the universe, sweeping through the heavens and earth, causing everything in the world to be overturned by those feathers. The sky was filled with barren wastelands. The feathers shot out in all directions and penetrated the world. Such a terrifying formation. Each and every one of these feathers is a deadly weapon. Yeah, such a terrifying feather formation. This feather race's master really can't be underestimated. I really don't know how these two guys did it. The means of the feather race are really hard to defend against. The power of their combined formation is infinitely close to a cosmic cloud state. This time, Ancestor Jiang Chen probably won't be as calm as before. Sigh, fate really makes fools of people. Everything is destined. If we killed Qin Shi earlier, how could there be such a variable? The people of the green light race were both happy and worried. However, the current situation wasn't optimistic for them. Jiang Chen was trapped in the 24 featherless wings formation. He was in a dilemma. Jiang Chen, prepare to die. This time, you won't be able to escape even if you have wings. Christian gritted his teeth. He could finally get revenge. No matter how cocky this guy was before, he would have to kneel and beg for mercy now. The 24 featherless wings formation was their trump card. It was supported by their own feathers and wings, completely fusing with the formation. Moreover, with the two of them working together, their strength was greatly enhanced. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were in perfect harmony. Jiang Chen's expression was solemn. At this moment, facing these two fellows, he dared not underestimate them. He had to use all of his strength. However, he had to admit that this 24 featherless wings formation was much stronger than he had imagined. Most importantly, this formation had fused their bloodlines, the dragon bones in their wings, and the feathers on their bodies to form this formation. Jiang Chen was trapped in the formation, so he could only use all of his strength. Sword 31. Sword 32. Sword 33. Jiang Chen fought the heavens with all his might. Within the formation, feathers filled the void and shot down unceasingly. It was exactly the same as his Ashura sword formation. However, the Ashura sword formation was much sharper and it was built on a peerless divine weapon. This 24-winged featherless formation relied on their own bodies to unify the formation. Hence, the difference between the two was not small. Facing the endless rain of feathers, they were like the wind and lightning, they were like the edge of a blade, they were flying around recklessly and filled with a terrifying aura. Everyone held their breath, not daring to underestimate them. If they missed even a little bit, Jiang Chen might lose his life. Above the heavenly dragon sword, there was a constant clanging sound. Feathers danced in the air. Millions of feathers covered the surroundings. The formation was ever-changing. Under the control of the two of them, there was nothing they couldn't do. In fact, it was even better than before. Qin Chi and Crimson were very excited. They could finally get back at them. On the other hand, Jiang Chen couldn't move an inch. It was difficult for him to keep going. There were even some wounds on Jiang Chen's body. If it wasn't for his dragon transformation, which was like the indestructible Vajra body, Jiang Chen would have been torn to pieces. There were just too many of them. Jiang Chen couldn't defend against all of them. Even the limitless sword couldn't block all of them. These feathers could be said to be all-pervasive, making one's scalp numb and unbelievable. At this time, Jiang Chen realized that these two guys were playing a war of attrition with him. Although Jiang Chen wasn't afraid at all, a war of attrition was very torturous. Most importantly, he had lost his initial calmness. Facing the 24 featherless wings formation, he was exhausted and at a disadvantage. Jiang Chen didn't have any chance to fight back. If this went on, he would be eaten away by his opponents. The indestructible golden wool doesn't look bad. I wonder if this guy can break the formation. Jiang Chen murmured in his mind. The indestructible golden wool was a true divine weapon, and Qin Chi had high hopes for it. But too bad, it had fallen into Jiang Chen's hands, which made Qin Chi very depressed. Therefore, even if he had to risk his life, he had to kill Jiang Chen and take back the indestructible golden wheel. Not only that, Qin Chi had been cheated by Jiang Chen twice and was still brooding over it. If he didn't take revenge, he wouldn't be a gentleman. Jiang Chen didn't have a solution for the time being, so he could only give it a try. If he could use the indestructible golden wool to break the formation, he might be able to break out this time. Jiang Chen retreated in order to advance. He gripped the indestructible golden wool in his hand and continuously poured his Genesis Qi into it. In an instant, Jiang Chen felt a terrifying rebounding force shoot out from the indestructible golden wheel. Jiang Chen's heart trembled. The heavenly dragon sword spirit in his hand faced the indestructible golden wool at this moment, barely suppressing the indestructible golden wheel's fierce sharpness. In the next moment, Jiang Chen could feel that the indestructible golden wool seemed to be carrying with it a tremendous change. It was like a wild horse that had broken free from its reins. It was filled with endless violence and rage, and it was trying to break free from its seal. It wanted to soar into the sky. The indestructible golden wool was completely out of Jiang Chen's control. If not for the heavenly dragon sword spirit suppression, the indestructible golden will would have already escaped Jiang Chen's control. Jiang Chen was incomparably shocked in his heart. The indestructible golden will also had a weapon spirit. The heavenly dragon sword spirit was a peerless dragon spirit, but what was the indestructible golden wheel's weapon spirit? Jiang Chen did not know. However, an earth-shaking roar suddenly rang out from the indestructible golden wheel. The indestructible golden wheel continuously rotated, as if it was about to fly to the top of the sky and escape from his hand. Jiang Chen's pupils shrank. Before the previous wave had subsided, another wave had risen. He had yet to break free from Qin Qi and Crimson's formation, and now even the indestructible golden wheel was about to escape from his hand. Wasn't this guy too powerful? Jiang Chen had not activated the indestructible golden wheel when he first obtained it, but now it seemed that this guy was not simple at all. It was as if there was a spirit trying to break free from the indestructible golden wheel. The golden wheel was spinning faster and faster, and it was getting stronger and stronger. Jiang Chen threw his glance onto the indestructible golden wheel, and he discovered that the golden wheel was slowly transforming into a golden bird, and it had 3 legs. A 3-legged golden crow. Chapter 5207. The 3-legged golden crow flapped its wings and a fiery light covered the sky and the earth. The 3 heavenly flame chains were barely able to entangle it, but the speed of the 3-legged golden crow was getting faster and faster, which shocked Jiang Chen. He was afraid that he would not be able to control the indestructible golden wheel any longer. He wants to activate the indestructible golden wheel, stop him. Qin Qi said in a deep voice. His pupils shrank and he increased his power. The feathers of the 24 wings featherless formation became faster and more numerous, which made it impossible for Jiang Chen to defend himself. This guy wants to activate the indestructible golden wheel. Does he have the strength to do so? Maybe he will be devoured by the indestructible golden wheel. Ha ha ha. Crimson said with a sneer. His eyes were extremely cold. The 2 of them increased their power and the formation became more and more powerful. The 2 of them joined hands and gave Jiang Chen a fatal blow. Jiang Chen was defeated one after another. On the other side, the indestructible golden wheel was about to break free from the 3 chains. Once it broke free, the indestructible golden wheel might fly away by itself. Sword Spirit Awakening, Heavenly Dragon Transformation. Jiang Chen held the heavenly dragon sword in his hand and wanted to suppress the 3-legged golden crow. However, the sword spirit of the heavenly dragon sword was not enough to crush the indestructible golden wheel. Although he had temporarily stabilized the situation, the 3-legged golden crow was likely to gradually tear the sword spirit of the heavenly dragon sword apart. After all, the indestructible golden wheel was too powerful. Jiang Chen could imagine how powerful the indestructible golden wheel would be when it was still in its peak condition. The sword spirit of the heavenly dragon sword and the 3-legged golden crow kept colliding and canceling each other out. The 3-legged golden crow flew up and the day it could rise to the sky was just around the corner. Jiang Chen frowned. This was not the way to go. The cooked duck must not fly away. Jiang Chen had an idea. It seemed like he could only try his last trump card. The star-picking palm could hold the sun, moon, and stars. He wanted to see if he could control the 3-legged golden crow. If the star-picking palm could not catch the 3-legged golden crow, then he was afraid that he would not be able to turn the situation around. Star-picking palm, give it to me. Jiang Chen's eyes shone like torches. The stars of the star-picking palm shot out in all directions and directly caught the 3-legged golden crow that was trying to break free. At this time, the 3-legged golden crow had completely lost its resistance against Jiang Chen's star-picking palm. As the saying goes, everything has its vanquisher. Under the star-picking palm, the 3-legged golden crow was caught obediently. Moreover, its eyes seemed to be filled with fear. The terrifying power of the stars made it tremble. Jiang Qin was overjoyed. He did not expect that he would be able to control the inextinguishable golden wool just like that. The three-legged golden crow was almost strangled to death by Jiang Qin due to the heavenly dragon sword soul. Others might not know, but the three-legged golden crow knew the power of the star-picking palm all too well. The moment the star-picking palm grabbed him, the three-legged golden crow trembled slightly. There was only fear and despair left in his eyes. Inextinguishable golden will, listen to my command. Kill. Jiang Qin held the inextinguishable golden wheel in his hand. This time, the inextinguishable golden wheel did not resist. Instead, it began to spin. The sky and earth spun as it revealed its sharpness. The feeling of tearing apart everything and the endless void made Jiang Qin's heart palpitate. Qin Chi and Kristen did not dare to underestimate it either. However, this was their home ground advantage. How could they give in so easily? Even if they were to face the inextinguishable golden wheel, they were still quite confident. Let the storm come more fiercely. You want to break my 24-winged featherless array? Dream on. Kristen's face was gloomy as he said disdainfully. The two of them pushed forward and did not retreat. The situation became even more tense. It was like a needle against an awl. Jiang Qin's eyes were as calm as ever. He was very confident in the inextinguishable golden wheel. If this guy did not rely on the star-picking palm to catch it, he would have been injured instead. The awakening of the inextinguishable golden wool was too terrifying. Swish, swish, the inextinguishable golden wool tore through the void, shining with golden light. The golden wool was incomparably sharp, and light shadows filled the world. Jiang Qin held the inextinguishable golden wool in his hand and threw it into the void. The inextinguishable golden wool instantly shone. At that moment, everyone was silent. The inextinguishable golden wool carried the tyrannical power of a divine weapon. It directly tore the 24-winged featherless array into pieces. The array was broken, and the inextinguishable golden wool also sawed off Qin Chi's and Kristen's bone wings. Arg! After a miserable shriek, Qin Chi's entire body only had 5 wings remaining. The rest of his wings had all been severed to the ground. Blood splattered everywhere, covering the ground. It was an extremely ghastly sight. No, don't. After Qin Chi, Kristen also couldn't escape misfortune. He was in an even more miserable state. 8 of his wings were cut off, and his Yuan Chi was greatly damaged. Everyone stared dumbfoundedly at this scene. The inextinguishable golden wool in Jiang Qin's hand was unparalleled, blotting out the sun and sky. The members of the Green Light clan were dumbstruck. They were so shocked that they couldn't utter a word. With their wings broken by the inextinguishable golden wheel, the two of them had nowhere to hide. The array also broke on its own, and they were blasted away. They looked extremely miserable. But Jiang Qin wasn't much better off. He had used the inextinguishable golden wheel, but he had almost emptied 70% of his Genesis Chi. This was because Jiang Qin had enough Genesis Chi in his body, which was more than 10 times stronger than a half-step nebula stage expert. But the result was the same. His body was almost emptied. Motherfucker. Even Jiang Qin was shocked by the inextinguishable golden wheel. Not only was it extremely terrifying, according to Jiang Qin's speculation, it was highly likely to be a great sovereign weapon. Even after millions of years of corrosion, it still possessed such a shocking energy. If the star-plucking hand hadn't suppressed the peerless artifact spirit within the inextinguishable golden wheel, Jiang Qin most likely wouldn't have been able to hold it in his hand. The terror of the star-plucking hand was evident. At this time, even the heavenly dragon sword in Jiang Qin's hand seemed to emit an unwilling hiss. The heavenly dragon sword and the inextinguishable golden wool collided and ended in a draw. But this was because the inextinguishable golden wool was no longer as dazzling as before. But with the power of the three-legged golden crow, the inextinguishable golden will could still exude dazzling and terrifying power. Ancestor Jiang Qin is truly worthy of being the inheritor of our ancestors' legacy. His strength is just too abnormal. Who says it isn't? But the most important thing is that the inextinguishable golden wheel is powerful enough. 2 half-step nebula stage experts were forced to retreat, and the array was broken. TSK, I think the 2 of them are dead for sure this time. Sigh, 1,000 sails have passed, and experts are like a stream. We've finally defeated them. These 2 fellows deserve to die, deserve to die. The people of the Green Light clan glared at them. Chapter 5208. Qin Chi and Kristen were drenched in blood. They had completely lost their initial sharpness. The 2 of them were supporting each other, but they were already at the end of their tether. The indestructible golden wheel in their hands made their bodies tremble. Qin Chi's heart was filled with regret. If he was the one who obtained the inextinguishable golden wheel, the current situation would be different. He reckoned that the one lying on the ground would be Jiang Qin. Too bad, he was 1 step behind, causing the 2 of them to fail on the verge of success. Now, they were in a life-and-death situation. Damn it! How could you fight us without the indestructible golden wheel? Qin Chi said through gritted teeth. Jiang Qin shook his head with a cold expression on his face. These 2 fellas didn't seem to have realized the situation they were in. Without the indestructible golden wheel, the 2 of you would have died even more miserably. Jiang Qin sneered. Do the 2 of you really think that the indestructible golden wheel is my trump card? I just wanted to try and see if the 2 of you could withstand the attack of the indestructible golden wheel. Besides, don't talk about what-ifs. This thing should have been mine in the first place. If the 2 of you had obtained it, would you have ended up like this? Ha ha ha. People who only talk about what-ifs in this world are cowards. Of course, there's also a type of trash. Which type do you think you are? Jiang Qin snorted disdainfully, his eyes cold. The 2 of them were already on the verge of death. Killing them would be as easy as lifting a finger. The sad thing was that he was actually complaining for himself. He was just looking for an excuse to justify his own incompetence. Kill me if you have the ability. You will never know the secret of the beacon smoke ancient land. Qin Chi sneered. Do you really think I can't do anything to you? Believe it or not, I can extract your soul and let you know what it means to be in so much pain that you wish you were dead. Death is not the most despairing thing. Sometimes, living is worse than death. Suffering for eternity is the most despairing thing. Jiang Chen's gaze landed on Qin Chi. Qin Chi shuddered. If Jiang Chen really had such a method, then he wouldn't be able to escape today. This guy was only a peak star state. Did he really have such means? He didn't believe it, but he didn't dare to gamble. Don't believe him. He's definitely spouting nonsense. Even if it's you and I, if a person dies, there's nothing we can do. Clinton frowned. Let us go, and you can get the secret you want. Crimson looked at Jiang Qin with his head held high and chest puffed out. Even though he had lost this battle, he was still arrogant and fearless. If you can't do it, why can't I? You guys are so trashy. Do I have to be as trashy as you? Ha ha ha. Jiang Qin laughed heartily as he shook his head. Crimson and Qin Chi's expressions were extremely ugly, because he was right. If they really had such ability, they wouldn't have been trapped here by Jiang Qin. These 2 fellows don't seem to have realized their situation. Yi Luodi said with a smile. He believed that ancestor Jiang Qin must have a way to punish them. You're about to die, yet you're still so arrogant. Do you 2 really think that you're invincible? Now, I'll let you have a taste of what it's like to beg for death. Jiang Chen took a step forward, causing Crimson and Qin Chi's expressions to change. Did this guy really want to kill them? Jiang Chen, you'll regret this. Qin Chi said in a threatening manner. I, Jiang Chen, have never regretted anything. Jiang Chen sneered. Sword 33. Jiang Chen swept across the sky, brandishing his sword. Soaring Dragon, a terrifying sword aura sealed off the two's paths of retreat. Arg! These are our treasures. How can we just kill them? Without these two beasts, how can we find the secret place? Arg! A feminine voice reverberated in the surrounding void. Jiang Chen frowned. A golden will fell from the sky and blocked all of Jiang Chen's sword momentum. Moreover, the golden will was very calm. Everyone exclaimed. All the sword intents were stopped. Jiang Chen's expression didn't look too good. Ordinary half-step cosmic cloud states would die for sure, but this guy could still walk so casually. More importantly, the golden will in his hand was the same as his own. So strong. Jiang Chen's heart tightened. This person wasn't simple. He didn't dare to underestimate him at all. He was even stronger than Qin Chi and Crimson. His appearance had saved the two of them. However, his objective seemed to be very simple. He was here to seize the treasure. The two of them were merely chess pieces in his hands. Who is this guy? Isn't he too strong? That's right. Don't you see that he has the same golden will of indestructible as Jiang Chen's? Yeah, could this person be in cahoots with Qin Chi and the others? Hard to say. It seems Jiang Chen's situation has become difficult again. Is our green light race really going to be annihilated here? Many people sighed. The black-robed man who appeared out of nowhere was wearing a ghost mask. The golden will in his hand was exactly the same as Jiang Chen's. Qin Chi and Crimson looked at each other, as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Who exactly was this fellow? Even they didn't know. However, was the golden will in his hand related to Jiang Chen's? Who are you? Jiang Chen stared at me and coldly. His voice was cold, and his eyes were looking straight ahead. It seemed like he could sense Jiang Chen's hostility. Not only did he not step back, he even took a step forward, as if he was provoking Jiang Chen. Could it be that the indestructible golden will in his hand was a pair with his own? Who I am isn't important. What's important is you. You shouldn't be here. The masked man sneered. I shouldn't be here. Hee, I really don't know who you are. I don't think the golden will in your hand is fake, is it? Jiang Chen smiled faintly. Whether it's fake or not, we can only know after seeing it. However, you don't have the qualifications to enter this place. If you scram now, I can let you live. You're not worth my effort. Put down the indestructible golden wheel, take your people, and walk out. I can pretend that nothing happened. The masked man said arrogantly. You think too much. Jiang Chen shook his head disdainfully. If that's the case, I'll take the inextinguishable golden wheel myself. You don't deserve the golden wheel. Chapter 5209. Give it a try then. Don't disappoint me. Jiang Chen grinned. With the heavenly dragon sword in one hand and the golden will in the other, he fought the masked man again. Chief Yi, look after these two. I'll take care of them later. Now, I'll take the second golden will first. Jiang Chen held his sword in front of him. The battle was about to begin. Okay. Yi Luodi said in a deep voice. He guarded Qin Chi and Clinton with his life. At this moment, Jiang Chen had already made the first move, meeting the ghost-masked man head-on. Today, I, Shui Ganglai, will fight you to the death. The inextinguishable golden wheel is not even worth mentioning in your hands, ha ha ha. Shui Ganglai rushed forward, his terrifying aura suffocating everyone. The inextinguishable golden wheel revolved continuously, like a soaring dragon in the sky. Shui Ganglia's power was a true half-step nebula state. Jiang Qin even felt that it wouldn't take long for this guy to break through to the true nebula state. His power seemed to be infinitely close to it. The collision between the heavenly dragon sword and the inextinguishable golden wheel was incessant. The unparalleled vibrating power even seemed to distort the surrounding space. The surrounding magma burst and flew up like a flowing river. The scene was extremely ferocious. Jiang Chen's expression was extremely serious. He did not dare to be careless because Shui Ganglia's strength was just too strong. With the inextinguishable golden wheel in his hand, the two of them fought fiercely against each other. None of them retreated. The simplest and most direct collision was nothing more than this. The two inextinguishable golden wheels were clanging fiercely and the sound was ear-piercing. Jiang Qin felt numb all over his body. His true dragon body was absolutely unparalleled in this world, but even so, he dared not say that he could still walk leisurely under the collision of the two inextinguishable golden wheel. Jiang Qin was shocked, but so was Shui Ganglai. With his power, if he was an ordinary person, he would have died from the shockwave. However, Jiang Qin could still be so domineering. This was the most unbelievable thing. He was just a peak star state. How could he resist wave after wave of his attacks? Although Shui Ganglai was startled, he did not panic. He increased his power, and boundless origin energy surged out. The inextinguishable golden wheel in his hand shone brightly as he closed in on Jiang Qin without holding back. Origin energy surged, the power to uproot a mountain. Shui Gang was like a ferocious tiger, unparalleled. The invincible golden wheel revealed its sharpness to the fullest. Layers upon layers of golden light revolved around it. The golden crow attacked, the soul shadow danced unrestrainedly. The momentum of the invincible golden wheel made Jiang Qin feel like he was sitting on pins and needles. This fellow seemed to have already fused with the invincible golden wheel, and they complemented each other. Right now, Jiang Qin was far from reaching such a realm. Every time they collided, Jiang Qin felt like the invincible golden wheel in his hand was about to fly out of his grasp. Jiang Qin could only defend passively with the golden wheel. The heavenly dragon sword launched an attack. Sword flowers interweaved and overlapped with the invincible golden wheel. Jiang Qin displayed the limitless sword to the extreme. Even the 33rd sword could only fight evenly with him. It was impossible for him to break the invincible golden wheel in Shui Ganglia's hand. The collision between the two became more and more intense, but Jiang Chen's weakness was also revealed. The fusion between Shui Ganglai and the invincible golden wheel was far beyond Jiang Chen's. Therefore, Jiang Chen could not completely confront him every time. He could only retreat in defeat, step by step, step by step. It seems that Jiang Qin is not this fellow's opponent. This Shui Ganglai seems to be stronger than we thought. That's right. The most important thing is that the invincible golden wheel in his hand is too perfect. It is perfectly fused with him. It is impossible for ancestor Jiang Qin to reach the level of harmony. In addition to the difference in strength between the two, I think ancestor Jiang Qin will not be able to hold on for long. Don't say such discouraging words. If it were not for ancestor Jiang Qin, we would probably be dead. Now that ancestor Jiang Qin is being suppressed, we should encourage him instead of undermining him at this time. Sigh, the two of them are too strong. Every time they collide, it is shocking. Although we have benefited a lot, if we want to join the battle, it is completely looking for our own death. Even clan leader Yi might not be able to join the battle between the two. I hope that ancestor Jiang Qin can withstand it. Everyone had their own thoughts. Although Jiang Qin did not help them kill Qin Chi for revenge, at this time, they were in the same camp. Jiang Chen would not threaten their lives. However, this Shui Ganglai did not put them in his eyes at all. Sister Chenlu, do you think Ancestor Jiang Chen can withstand Shui Ganglia's attack? Di Luo felt uneasy. The inextinguishable golden wheel was just too powerful. Jiang Chen's ancestor had used the inextinguishable golden wheel to defeat Qin Qi and Kristen. Now, both of them had an inextinguishable golden wheel in their hands. Although Jiang Chen had two great divine weapons, he still couldn't contend against Shui Ganggao. How could Chenlu not be worried? This was also the time she was most worried about. In the past, even if there was danger, Jiang Chen would always be able to turn misfortune into fortune. But this time, it was really hard to say. His opponent's methods were superb, and the invincible golden wheel was the greatest threat. He should be fine. Although Chenlu was worried, in her heart, she was definitely leaning towards Jiang Chen. Since Jiang Chen chose to fight against Shui Ganglai, it meant that he still had confidence in himself. As for who would emerge victorious, it was still too early to say. Seems like your invincible golden wheel isn't that easy to use. Ha ha ha. Shui Ganggui sneered. His attacks became even more ferocious. The inextinguishable golden wheel flew up, like a ring of flames, scorching the void. The sky and earth changed color. The violent power of the wheel made the air burn. Even the magma here couldn't do it, but the heat of the inextinguishable golden wheel did. It was like a huge furnace, flying up, unparalleled and shocking, making it impossible for people to defend against it. Shui Ganggui sneered. Golden will rise, move the heavens. The invincible golden wheel, like a wheel of fire, descended from the sky. The surrounding ground cracked inch by inch, turning into powder. Jiang Chen's expression was grim as if he was facing a great enemy. He quickly retreated. The invincible golden wheel roared like a three-legged golden crow. It spread its flaming wings and crushed down, heading straight for Jiang Chen. 33 swords. Jiang Chen slashed out with his sword, but he was still shaken back and spat out a mouthful of blood. This was because the invincible golden wheel in Shui Ganglia's hands was too strong. Although he also held the invincible golden wheel in his hand and faced it head-on, the result was that his scalp went numb. He staggered and his eyes became quite serious. Chapter 52:10. Jiang Chen's face darkened. The guy in front of him was closing in again. It seemed like he didn't intend to leave any chance for himself. Shui Ganglai was like a giant beast with infinite strength. With the indestructible golden wheel in his hand, he once again descended from the sky, smashing towards Jiang Chen. Jiang Chen barely managed to block the attack, but he couldn't withstand it. The golden wheel of indestructible destruction had injured him, and the rocks underneath his feet were cracking apart. He could feel his blood boiling in his body. Jiang Chen knew that he had underestimated Shui Ganglai in this battle. If he didn't show his true strength, he really wouldn't be able to turn the tables. Your strength is really too weak. That's it. You want to have the indestructible golden wheel. Shui Ganglai snorted, his eyes cold, with a sense of disdain for the heavens. 9 tribulations imprisoning heavenly finger. One finger ends everything. Jiang Chen didn't look sideways. Once again, he fought at the top of the sky. His fingers shook the sky, shattering the void. Double dragon finger. Triple finger. 4-directional finger. 5 elements finger. 5 fingers covering the sky, defying the heavens and changing fate. Jiang Chen's guidance was unleashed one after another. It was as if the heavenly lightning had ignited the earth's fire, causing everyone to tremble. The 9 tribulations' heavenly imprisoning finger once again forced Shui Ganglai to retreat. Shui Ganglia's expression changed again and again. Good, this is more like it. Golden wheel of 10,000 elephants. Shui Gangao held the indestructible golden will in his hand as he swept it over. As soon as the golden will appeared, all techniques returned to one, and it destroyed all phenomena. The heavens and the earth underwent a myriad of changes in an instant. The indestructible golden will was like a sun as it pressed down horizontally, and its aura shot into the sky. The golden light directly solidified the void, so dazzling that people couldn't open their eyes. Starlight into the body. 100 refined stars. Exploding heavenly stars. Jiang Chen also raised his blade, going all out. His hands changed again. The power of the 5 elements finger didn't change, and the power of the stars in his body instantly filled up. Jiang Chen's body was as dazzling as a star, and it was abnormally terrifying. The golden light and the blue light converged, as if the world was changing, and a comet exploded. Boom! A thunderous sound rang out, but Jiang Chen didn't move an inch. Astral energy overturned the dome of the heavens, unstoppable. At this time, Shui Ganglai was also very shocked. His face was solemn, and he tightly grasped the indestructible golden will in his hand. He took a few steps back, and the web between his thumb and forefinger split open. The blood in his body was boiling, and his heart was filled with astonishment. Ancestor Jiang Chen is simply too amazing. Isn't he too cool? Yeah, my body is numb. This power is comparable to a cosmic cloud state, right? It's hard to say. In short, I feel that Ancestor Jiang Chen will definitely win this time. I'm afraid their strength is about the same. It's hard to say. Facing the dangerous confrontation between the two, the spectators' blood boiled. They didn't dare to believe that Ancestor Jiang Chen was actually so terrifying, causing their scalps to go numb. Chen Lu's eyes were brimming with tears of excitement. The battle between Jiang Chen and his opponent was completely astonishing. This was the big brother Jiang Chen that made her so excited. Even Qin Qi and Kristen glanced at each other. Their hearts were filled with shock. It seemed that when they fought with Jiang Chen before, he didn't even use his full power. This kid was really unfathomable and too terrifying. However, their greatest hope was that both Jiang Chen and Shui Ganglai would be heavily injured. That way, they would have a sliver of a chance to escape. Otherwise, with both of them being so powerful, it wouldn't end well no matter whose hands they ended up in. Not bad at all. Jiang Chen, right? You're really making me look at you in a different light. Today, I'll let you see who's the real overlord. Shui Ganglai wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were still filled with coldness. If this continued, he might very well be killed by Jiang Chen. Their strength was really about the same, but this time, he definitely wouldn't lose. If there was only one indestructible golden wheel, perhaps he would still be worried. However, now that there were two, he was full of confidence. Is that so? Sure, let me see what other tricks you have. Go ahead and use them. Jiang Chen stood with his hands behind his back. His eyes were like lightning. I'm just afraid you can't take it, ha 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 ha. After laughing wildly, Shui Ganglai roared. His killing intent soared into the sky. Divine soldier mantra, listen to my command. Where my heart is, the divine soldiers will unite. Shui Ganglai spoke eloquently. At this moment, Jiang Chen suddenly discovered that the invincible golden will in his hand had started to vibrate, as if it had a soul of its own. It wanted to break free from his hands and escape from his grasp. What's going on? Jiang Chen glanced at the complacent Shui Ganglai. At this moment, he was still mumbling to himself as the corners of his mouth curled into a confident smile. My indestructible golden will has actually been shaken by his mantra. Jiang Chen couldn't believe it. His hands tightly grasped the indestructible golden wheel, but he still couldn't control it. The indestructible golden will vibrated rapidly as an extremely strong suction force sucked on it. Jiang Chen felt as if thousands of tons of force was pulling on it. It was too terrifying, and he couldn't hold on any longer. Ha ha ha, now you know who the owner of the indestructible golden wheel is, right? Shui Ganglai smiled confidently. At this moment, Jiang Chen's pupils constricted as he tightly grasped the indestructible golden wheel. In the end, he still couldn't resist the mind power of the mantra, and the indestructible golden wheel finally slipped out of his hand. Shui Ganglai leaped up and held the indestructible golden wheel in his hands. With one in each hand, the indestructible golden wheel constantly rotated. His eyes were also incomparably blazing. With the golden wheel in hand, I have the world. Who can stop me? Ha ha ha. Shui Ganglia's roar was like thunder. This time, everyone became serious. Jiang Chen knew that he might have to face Shui Ganglai now. He was already so powerful with one indestructible golden wheel. Now that he had two indestructible golden wheels, Shui Ganglia's strength would definitely increase greatly. Such an earth-shattering power was probably something that even Jiang Chen couldn't control. So you were already prepared? Jiang Chen said in a deep voice. Not really. I just didn't expect that even the indestructible golden wheel couldn't do anything to you. Your strength is indeed beyond my imagination, but now, you might not have such a chance. Shui Ganglai was proud of himself. With two indestructible golden wheels in hand, even if his strength didn't increase by 2 levels, it was still unimaginable. He had already made preparations. This time, being able to seize the indestructible golden wheel in one fell swoop could also be considered as his own fortune. There's no need to say any more. This time, let's see if you can withstand the might of my 2 wheels. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.